Yes, guys, you know what time it is. It's your boy David at the Irish Hotspur, Ireland's #1 Spurs fan, bringing you Can Nicky Answer Me? And boy, do we have interesting topics to discuss today. We will be joined by Philip Brady. I don't know where he's gone, but I'm sure he will be back. But we are joined by co-host Jack, Cuva99, and Philip Brady. First of all, Jack, my man, how are you?
Keeping well, David. Keeping well. It's nice to see this panel's going to have a bit of humor tonight, even though we're going to be talking about maybe some of the more depressing subjects regarding the Spurs hierarchy and the institutions that fund it and whatnot. But it's nice to see two people wearing sombreros tonight, as well as flat caps. We got Kuva right there, and then David's flag right there, also with the sombrero behind him. But can Nicky answer me, David? As I always say, it is the show where we have everybody in the comments. They give their thoughts on all these questions. It's basically, a way for, the panelists to give their answers to things. David gets his answers towards a lot of things as well, but also just so that people in the comments, everybody that's in the chat down below, I want your answers as well, because these are very serious things that we will be discussing. And then we'll kind of end it, a bit kind of lightly and, a bit more wholeheartedly on some nice Cootie Romero stats and some nice Emerson stats. It's a banger of a show set up tonight, Dave.
No, look, there definitely is some very, very interesting talking points to be discussed and flashed out.
Man with two hats.
but look, I know some people may look at the title and be like, it can't be true. Look, trust me, with what Jack will be unveiling shortly, trust me, you'll see where it's coming from, that it's, that there is scope there for us. But look, we'll go to channel legend, Philip Brady. Philip, my man, how are you keeping?
Yeah, great, David. Yeah, very good. Very good. It's good to have a Saturday off from Spurs and watch Ireland hammer the All Blacks at rugby.
Yeah, it was absolutely brilliant. Look, it's a good time to be alive. Look, Harry Kane is back in the goals, and Ireland beat the best team in world rugby. It's a great time to be alive. Absolutely brilliant. And look, guys, stay tuned for some of Philip's answers. I know he's done a lot of digging about today as well, so be very interesting to see what treasure he's unearthed. But look, we'll move to Cuva99. My man, how are things? And first time on Can Nicky Answer Me?
Oh, doing great here, mate. Thought I'd have a little wheeze about the sombrero, of course. Trouble is, we're sifting through the kids' dress-up stuff. I mean, it's way too small for my melon head. Hopefully, it just looked funny anyway.
That happened to me actually the other day, Kuva. Someone loaned me a flat cap, and then I realized that I'm like a size large or extra large. I have a football size, head. And honestly, it's a bit sad. It's a bit sad that you don't fit everybody else's size. I know what you mean. Know where you're coming from.
But look, before we do get into it, guys, let's see what Harris Army are in here to join with us tonight. We have Dark Song G21. Big yourself up, my man. I hope things are well. He says, come on, you Spurs. Did you guys see the content video that was uploaded today, or was it yesterday? I love his passion on the bench and his presence on the video. It was epic. Jack, did you see it?
I did see it. He was having a bit of a nice, kind of canteen sort of lunch, with Daniel Levy. I'm surprised even it makes sense, actually. Daniel Levy would want to maybe save a buck on that lunch, made a bit of sense. But he basically explaining all the coaching staff that he was bringing in, basically, essentially, breaking down why he needs them there, what they do specifically. Then you kind of went on to him, kind of in the stadium receiving, the big Antonio songs and whatnot. Just honestly, David, it's like you can see the glowing, kind of a atmosphere around him. You can see him. I think he is actually glowing, David. He probably has a halo above his head because, as we all know, Antonio Conte is the second coming of Christ. And then sitting across from him at the other side of the table, David, was Don Paratici, the third coming of Christ. So there we are. Seriously, David, it was brilliant to watch. Brilliant video. You should definitely check it out. Antonio Conte just looked absolutely magnificent.
No, that's what I want to hear. Look, I have said before, I think this guy is going to be the guy to connect club, players, manager, and fans again, like just a bit like Pochettino has done. Salary agents in the house, big yourself up. I hope you're keeping well, my man. We also have Sean Snow. I hope you're keeping well, Sean. Big yourself up. Of course, he's an Ndombele fanatic. Big up, Shawnee. Yeah, Wolf Mowler, he says, I bet Levy loves that this has come out. Do you know, I was only joking with Jack earlier on, saying that, Levy brought in Conte, everything's kind of died down a little, and then next thing, this bomb drops out. I'd say he's absolutely doing his nothing. I was telling Jack he was probably hitting his head out the window. Noah Jurgen says, hello, the Irish Hotspur. Big yourself up, Noah. Hope things are well. We also have Adam in the house. Big up, lads. That was a great stream earlier, Jack.
Oh, it was brilliant. Honestly, Adam and I were just being educated by the likes of Kuva and Dermot, on a fantastic cup final, the Aussies, Ricky Villas of the world, as well as Glenn Hoddle, who I'm now being certain, David, is the best Spurs player of all time and is one of the greatest footballers I've ever seen. Adam and I were just being educated, as well as, kind of providing the young person's perspective on a lot of it. It was absolute fantastic vibes. Adam, like I said, time flew by.
No, absolutely love to hear it. Jack, Adam, make sure you have your pen and pads at the ready next week, because I'm sure Kuva and Dermot will be giving you an exam. Tottenham Tantrum says, can't wait, the best show around. Please, everyone, let them get to 5,000. Get it likes into big up as well. Big up Kuva 99, all the legends. Come on, you Harris Army. Come on, you Flat Cap Army. Come on, you Spurs. And I don't know what the COYK is. Haven't a clue what that is, Dermot.
Figure it out later.
Maybe the Kuva Army. Maybe it's the Kuva Army.
Yeah, it is the Kuva Army. It has to be. Yeah, there we are. Come on. The Comedians Army.
Look,
there we go.
What I will say is, if there is anyone new tuning in, make sure you do smash that subscribe button. What Dermot's talking about here with the 5,000 is, look, the 21st of November will be our 1 year anniversary. It's the first time I uploaded a video there. So this, it's rolling around, and we are looking to smash 5K subscribers within a year. It'd be absolutely awesome. Maybe people might start referring to the Irish Hotspur as the fourth coming of Christ. Who knows? But look, it would be nice if you could get to the 5K before then. So let's see what we can do. Everybody, the foot soldiers of the House Army, I encourage you, spread the word and get the channel out there. We have Claude Murphy. Oh, guys, as well, do get over and check out Tottenham Tantrum Gold as well, guys. Do get over and check it out. Claude Murphy says, respect, guys. Lock on and wait and big yourself up, my man. Big yourself up. Yes, also a personal thank you from me, my man. Really appreciate what you've done for myself and Jack. You're an absolute legend. You've really helped out. You have no idea. Says, big up, lads and ladies. Sorry if I missed a show or two. The missus accidentally deleted her YouTube account, so I had to make another. You would think that the world came to an end. She didn't even cook. Jesus, lad, that is unacceptable. No plum tarts, no apple crumbles. You know what? What's the world coming to also? It's not good enough, And then deleting the YouTube account. Look, I would say that's done on purpose. I'd say she's thinking, what do I have to do to get the guy to watch a movie with me? Best thing to do is keep him away from the Irish Hotspur YouTube channel. You know what I mean? I need someone that needs to watch Coronation Street with me, a bit of EastEnders or whatever it may be. But big up also. Really appreciate you, man. Really appreciate you. Shamu Van Spurs says, hoping that Connie and Rach make zero profit on their house, David. Oh, that's to do with the Block NZ. Big yourself up, my man. Big up, Shamu. Sanuska Ramchunder says, good evening all. Hope you had a great day. Come on, you Spurs. Come on, you Harris Army. Come on, you Flat Cap Army. Had a great day, Sanuska. I have a great day every single day. Every day I wake up is a great day. Faz Radfar says, big up, David and Jack. Harry is ready to score a hat-trick for Spurs against Leeds. Come on, you Spurs. Look, Faz, I'm not even going to speak about it anymore. Same player, did more, but with different chances provided. That's all I'm going to say on the matter. Looks what happens when you give the man service. I'm not even going to debate it anymore. I'm just going to let Harry Kane now do the speaking. That's all I'm going to do. But big up, Faz. Big yourself up. James Watson, big up, lads. And now, Faz, what I will say quickly is as well, look, there's more important issues to discuss now. Now that we're all in agreement that we should not sell Harry Kane and we need to keep him, now we can just move on to more important topics. But big up, Faz. Big up, James Watson. I hope you're keeping well. We also have Dave Tyson. Evening, people. Big yourself up, man. I hope you're keeping well. Catman Jess, big up, Harris Army. Big yourself up, Catman. Pero Miguel Escobardo, all the way from Lagos. Says, good evening, fam. Come on, you Harris Army. Come on, you Flat Cap Army. Come on, you Spurs. Big yourself up.
Legend.
Graham Bonner, Levy, and 400 million, if only, lol. No, look, I know. Look, we'll wait and see. But the article's there. We can spend it. Mark Swift says, hit that like and sub. You can super chat too. Big up, Mark Swift. Really appreciate that, my man. And Catman Jess says also, what game for Harry last night? Proud of him. Yeah. Look, class is permanent, form's temporary. Isn't that the saying? Brian C. Socrates says, but I will say, actually, he does need to do it in a Spurs jersey against Leeds. Hopefully there's goals incoming. Hopefully it rains goals around here. Brian C. Socrates, it's good to see you, my man. Lads, I missed your last few shows. I was off in parallel universe with work. Back on earth, and yep, Conte was manager. The winning mentality this brings is unreal. We will have our day. Brian, I've always said, just go through the rough times, good times will coming. Now, the next few years, all I can just see is just prosperity, my man. Just prosperity, growth, trophy laden. You know what I mean? Honestly, my missus is going to get so annoyed with the amount of trips I'm going to have to make over there now, just to watch my team lift all them trophies. It's going to be absolutely incredible. But it's good to see Socrates, the philosopher's in the house. Big up, my man. We also have Clement says, big up, guys. Big up, Clement. My man, how are you keeping? The Bertie, 1008. Big up, David and Jack Harris and Flat Cap Army. Come on, you Spurs. My man, Bertie, I hope you're keeping well. Emily Dunn's in the house. She says, don't forget to like and subscribe, folks. Let's get the Irish Hotspur to 5K. That's what I'm talking about. Emily, the foot shoulder. Push it out there. That's what I'm talking about. Big yourself up, Emily. Seb is in the house. Big up, David and Jack and all the Tottenham family watching. Alan Harris is in, and I promise you, he is no relation of mine. The old lad didn't go astray anywhere, but he says, hi, Dave. Lighty64 here. Big yourself up. I hope you're keeping well, man. Hope you're keeping well. Derek Hutchinson says, big up, guys. Hope you're both well. We're all well. We're always good, my man. It's like that song. You always got to look on the bright side of life, lad. You always have to. Gordon Cox says, hi, all. Looking forward to this. Great panel with great hosts. Come on, you Harris Army. Come on, you Flat Cap Army. Gordon Cox going to have an even greater host in a minute because we will be handing over to the one himself, Kaniki. Carlos H says, laughing my ass off. El Cuva. I think Cuva must be watching the new Narcos. I think he wants a role. I think he's looking to get into Series 4. Big up, Chris. Chris is in the house. I hope you're keeping well, my man. Who else have we got in here? JC says, good evening, David and Jack. Cuva and Philip. Big up to you all. Jay, I hope you're keeping well, my man. I hope you are keeping well. We have King Hoddle in the house. Jack talks about Hoddle. He appears. Says the following sentence was heard on the television this evening. Unbelievable technique from Ben Davies. Yeah, look, fair play. Fair play. Hopefully, we can bring it back to Tottenham too. Cara Simpson says, evening, gents. I hope you're all well. We're always good. I hope you're keeping well, Cara. Hope you're keeping well. Brad Matthews in the house. Good evening, lads. Dagenham and Redbridge. Will explain. First of all, Brad, I'm surprised you're not out down the local, having a cheeky shandy or two. But Cuva, I think he's landed you in it, so you're going to have to explain.
Oh, it's from the doing the big fat quiz on Josh, the Tottenham guy, his channel earlier. And we'd started off with a bit of guesswork, and I just joked, how do you spell Dagenham and Redbridge for one of the answers? I've forgotten which one it was now, but it just developed into answering that for every question. Even if it was players, if it was a couple of players we signed, it would be Dagenham and Redbridge.
Dagenham also.
Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. Spurs Squad says, big up the Irish, Jack and the Army. Big yourself up, Spurs Squad. Hope you're keeping well. Who else have we got? Let's see who else we have. We have PC Matt. He's in the house. I hope you're keeping well, PC Matt. We have Josh McDermott. What we are going to spend 30 million and get some old players on loan. Yeah, probably will. But look, we'll let Jack get into it now in just 1 minute, my man. So we will. The truth sets you free. The Irish pro golfer. Big yourself up, my man. I hope you are keeping well. He says, everywhere we go, big yourself up, my man. I hope you're keeping well. Hope you are keeping well. This guy has good humor. I like this guy. Big up, the truth sets you free. Big up, my man. But look, guys, before we do get into it, everyone make sure you absolutely obliterate that like button. Smash that subscribe button. The big push to 5K is on. We can almost see it. It's time to put down the binoculars and just put on the glasses. It's that close. And guys, feel free. Like the truth sets you free here, guys. Get your super chats in. It is a great way to support the channel. It's a great way to support myself and Jack. We put a lot of time and effort. We really do try our best, and we really would love to go proper full time with this. And it's your support that really keeps us going and, makes that ambition possible. And plus, look, as you can see, we do put it back into the channel, so like you see with the likes of the Tactics Sport and everything else like that, we do genuinely try and bring the best, very best content to you guys that we can with what we have. But look, guys, we know that not everybody is in a position. Christmas is coming up. Some people have a lot of people to buy for. But look, guys, we try to include everybody. We will bring everybody's comments up on screen as much as we can. Believe me, we do try our best, guys. But, sometimes if you just want to skip that queue, it's a bit like me, in a bakery. There's one donut left. I'm not waiting. I'm skipping that queue. And that's what the Super Chat does, guys. But look, let's pass it over to Jack himself. And Jack, let's take it away, my man.
I guess we got to inform the ladies and gentlemen of the Harris Army on maybe a very recent article that's been published by the Daily Mail, everybody. And it was detailing a study by Kieran Maguire, who is, in fact, a lecturer in football finance at the University of Liverpool on financial fair play rules, especially, and net spend. Basically, the study that was conducted was regarding all Premier League clubs, by the way. The article, in fact, confirms that Spurs do, in fact, have a large war chest of 400 million pounds at their disposal. Just quickly, this war chest did come from over 10 years of basically profit, generated by Tottenham Hotspur, by Enoch and Levy. So basically that 400 million was practically generated by the fans, if you want to look at it in that sort of way. This war chest has been accrued by Levy and Enoch's stingy model of running the club for profit instead of for glory, as the very, very appropriate line goes. Enoch is for profit over glory, and Spurs essentially have 400 million pounds technically to spend right now before breaking any sort of financial fair play rules. To bring that in context, teams like Man City, I think they can only spend something like 80 million, 90 million pounds this upcoming window before breaking sort of financial fair play rules. That also goes towards some other clubs, that can't really spend as much. But when it comes to us, we can in fact spend more than any other club basically right now, right in this moment. So maybe technically we could bring in the Hollands and whatnot of the world with that sort of money. But this all basically means that, with this sort of money that we have at our disposal generated from the profit over time, that it is actually the most of any other club by some considerable margin, even more than Newcastle, because we do have to take into consideration, as much as financial fair play rules do get kind of, swayed around, do get kind of messed about with by certain clubs, they still can punish you. We saw Chelsea get punished for it before. We've seen Man City almost get punished for it. So if we, we're probably kind of the good little boys of the world where we do want to kind of abide by those rules. But even by abiding by those rules, we can technically spend 400 million pounds, and that is all because of the profit that's been generated over the last 10 seasons. But first question goes to Philip here. This model of running our club like a business, Philip, it's granted us enough funds to really fully rebuild our squad, if you think about it, yet we haven't really dipped into these cash reserves ever before. Philip, do you feel like now that Antonio Conte, the Don, the second coming of Jesus Christ himself, is now at the helm, if you had to guess right now, will we see over the next two windows a big spending Tottenham Hotspur?
The timing of that article is very interesting because I did a bit of research today on the Tottenham Hotspur accounts. Now, the most recent accounts that are out are for 2020, ending June 30th, 2020, right? Now, they were published on the 23rd of November last year, which means that this year's accounts are already out there. They just haven't been published yet. So that's probably what your man had access to. He had access to a draft copy of the accounts. Now, it's quite possible because, these things they're in the public domain once they're published. I would also say Antonio Conte, first phone call he made when he got the call from Levy was, get on to his boys, check out Spurs finances, see where they are. Because it's very interesting that as at the end of June last year, which is 3 months into the pandemic, so it wasn't really a complete season affected by the pandemic, Spurs had 226 million in cash in the bank. Right? Now, since that, they have repaid the 175 million to the government that they borrowed at the start of COVID. Right? That's already repaid. It's been repaid, yeah.
Wow. So,
right, there is no overdraft at the club. There's no overdraft, right? Now, to give you an example, the cash in hand at the end of the 19 accounts, the 2019, was only 123 million. So we doubled the cash in hand almost in the space of a year. Now, okay, that 175 million gone back is probably going to affect things a little bit this year because obviously it's money that was earned and went back in. But for the year 2020, up to 2020, June 20, we earned 403 million quid. That was the earnings that came into Tottenham Hotspur. 51 million came from the Champions League and European competition. 95 million came from TV. 95 million, I think, also came in from match day. Is that right? Yeah, there's from match day, gate receipts. And 162 million from commercial enterprises. Now, that can be the shops. It can be whatever you want to make it yourself. It's everything non-football, which is an incredible amount of money when you think about it, right? So now, on the downside, the players' wages was 160 million, right? And the most surprising thing of the whole lot that I saw in the accounts, which leads me to believe that, we're a big club. There are 647 people working for Tottenham. There's 292 administration staff, 84 retail staff, and 271 on the playing and staff. Probably includes the women's team and all that. So that's where we are. We are in a very healthy financial position.
More than healthy.
More than healthy.
That.
So there is absolutely no reason why Levy cannot splash the cash. But not one penny of that money that I've mentioned came from Enoch. That was all generated by the club, right?
Mm.
And so that means that definitely the money's there. I think Conte knows this. Conte would not have come unless he knew he had money to spend and he has the assurances from Levy that it's going to be spent. Because you know Conte's form. If he doesn't get what he wants, he's gone. So I don't think Levy can afford for that to happen. Now, this is the bit that's going to infuriate you. There's a note on the account that while it doesn't name names, you know bloody well who it's referring to. The highest paid director of the company in 2020 took a salary of 2.97 million. Right? Not too bad. Reasonable. The previous year, he took 7 million.
Jesus Christ.
The year the stadium opened up, when all the razzmatazz and all of this, that, and the other, Daniel Levy paid himself 7 million quid.
Do you know what's more infuriating about that? The fact that, you know, they even tried to furlough staff and the amount of money that's coming in and the amount of money he's taking, and they tried to furlough staff. Ordinary people with kids to feed, you know, food to put onto a table. You know what I mean? It's absolutely shocking.
Just take 1 million away from that, and that practically almost pays the majority of those staff's income as well.
There's absolutely there's no input from me. That Spurs are a cash machine in their own right. There's no need. Enoch don't even need to be there, basically. Okay, there are a lot of loans. There's the loan of 655 million on the stadium, which is long term. There's a lot of long term borrowing, but it's heavily secured. And even allowing for that, the club is still, if you take all the assets and liabilities, take one from the other, the net worth of the club, this is a year ago, it's probably more now, was about 350 million. That's when you allow for what they owe, what they earn, you'd say, and what we own. So we're I'll tell you one thing, there's not many clubs in the world in such a strong financial position as Tottenham Hotspur. And the fact that we've been run by the 21st century of Ebenezer Scrooge is the only thing that's really holding us back.
We were talking about margins between us and the other clubs, in terms of how much we can spend. I'll tell you, honestly, it seems like Levy has increased our margins in terms of our waist size. Yeah. I mean, honestly, a cash cow, Philip, seems to be an understatement.
Cash cow, yeah. I mean, they're ended the case for the prosecution.
There's his opening statement, everybody. There's his opening statement. Yeah, sorry, Dave.
No, I just want to say to everybody, off the back of what Jack has told you and off the back of what Philip has brought to the table, I would love to hear everybody's thoughts on it. So do get your thoughts in on the chat. We have a couple of super chats to get to, and then I suppose we'll put Kuv in. Spurs squad, Jackie. Spurs squad. I don't know if you forgot to put in a comment. I know you've done this before, where I think it's just a donation, and if it is, I really do appreciate it. Top man, and thank you so much. If you didn't, just put your comment in the chat, and we will find it, my man. Big yourself up.
Truth Sets Free says no ketchup or mayo goes for supporters too. I think we said this before. I think it was even, forget if it was Kuva the other night, but I'm pretty sure everybody, if you are going through your pantry, maybe, I think it was William Kelly actually. In fact, William Kelly the other night, David, he was just trying to make, a nice set of batch of fries and a burger for his own kid. And then he was looking behind him and he saw Antonio Conte, going after him because he put too much mayo and ketchup on the burger. But everybody, I would just say, if you find that your ketchup and mayo is missing, you know who it is. But also as well, it might even be Levy, because he also is probably taking practically everybody's money away from you. Because even as Philip detailed earlier, Truth Sets Free, majority of this money that's been accrued has all been practically from the fans when you think about it. It's just the money that's been slowly generated and profit over time. So everybody, keep your ketchup and your mayo very safe. Keep it very safe. Keep it in a locked box. But big yourself up. Truth sets free. Tottenham tantrum saying if Levy had 400 million to spend where he's been keeping it under his bed, we are known he was tight ass. But this is taking a piss, lads. Come on, you Spurs. It's a bit of dark humor. It certainly is. It's actually almost like, laughing while I'm receiving a knife through my stomach. Honestly, this is how really bad it is, because we all even heard, take ourselves back to the days of that propaganda video that he released over the summer, saying that, you can't expect us to, spend this much money on X players. You can't expect us, to be able to, fork over this much money, even detailing how he took a bigger hit over the pandemic than anyone else. Yet at this time, he still had this much in cash reserves just from profit alone over that time period. So I will say, calling him a bald-faced liar is, again, a bit of an understatement. But if he's keeping it under the bed, that probably would turn it into a very nice raised mattress. I'll tell you that, because certainly that's a lot of money to put under the bed. Probably would actually ruin the foundations of that bed.
One thing, just to finish off my spit there and let Kuba in then. That video that Conte released, there was one very pertinent line. Now, I don't know the exact wording on it, but he says, we want complete openness. We want complete transparency. We want to know everything. We don't want the club holding anything back. That is very, very telling, because he's obviously known, he knows Levy's reputation. And he's more or less gone in there. He said, listen, don't be holding anything back from us. We want to know everything that goes on in this club. And I think now Levy is now ceded power in some way to Conte for the next season or two.
He honestly must have been shaking in his boots when he heard that from Antonio Conte. I'll tell you that. William Kelly says, does this show Levy and Enoch up for what they really are, tight-fisted? I think tight-fisted, I think basically any phrase that you come up for them, William Kelly, is practically understated, if not, not an exaggeration at all. But David, what do you say to William Kelly here? Tight-fisted, it's almost, actually an understatement.
I'll be honest with you. Look, to be honest with you, reading the article, I was absolutely furious. Look, I know we can spend up to 400 million. It doesn't exactly mean we have 400 million cash available. But if the owners put the money in, then you would have, along with what you've already generated, you would have that much to spend. And, the thing is, we've been crying out for a rebuild. We've been told it's not going to happen overnight. But look, they can improve the fortunes of this club massively. And even fans that are going to the game, fans worldwide that are paying to watch the games through their subscriptions and everything else, we should all be we all deserve to be watching better. And they definitely, we could have better out there by now. Over from 2010 to 2020, we've accumulated between everything, between money we've took in and money that's gone out, I think over 400 million in profit over 10 years. It's absolutely insane. It's absolutely insane. It's I don't know. It does show how tight they are. It really does. I can get the business model they're going for, but look, at the end of the day, it's a football club. You know what I mean? It's like, where do you draw the line between business and football? Yes, don't get me wrong. Long-term future of Tottenham it's probably sound. It's probably healthy. No other football club is probably run like us. But at the same time, look at the pain we're enduring. Look at the lack of trophies we've brought in. You know what I mean? It's a hard one to take. So, William Kelly, it does show how tight-fisted they really are. Look, honestly, tighter than a duck's arse. That's what I say, my man. Not that I know how tight one is, but big yourself up. Jacko?
Truth sets free, says Phil, my Irish godfather. Wow, mic drop. There you are, Philip. If you need an extra godson, Truth sets free is willing to be yours. I actually, in fact, I would say, it's being a godfather is definitely a good role. I have a good father. I have a good godmother as well. So, Philip, if you need another godson, there you are, Philip. There you are. He's happy to be yours.
Very good.
Thank you for respecting, though, Philip, for honestly all the research that I put in, though. True sets free. Big yourself up, my man. Spurs squad again with the super sticker. David, I don't have my phone nearby unless you have yours. So we'll look it up in just in case.
We'll go to William Kelly's and then I'll go back and I'll find out what Spurs squad super sticker is.
I'm actually intrigued what it is going to look like. William Kelly says, Jack, can you say a little shout out to my son, Luke? He said he will be a Spurs supporter if you do. Big up, Luke. Come on, join the pain, Luke. Honestly, especially William Kelly. He definitely knows how to be able to handle the pain himself. So, Luke, all I can tell is that you definitely need to join if not the greatest army in the world. That is the Harris Army. Then join the second greatest army in the world, the Flat Cap Army. Then become a Spurs fan. It's all one big happy package. At the end of the day, too, Luke, I would say, I know a lot of people, they kind of want to be the hipster fan base, be part of the the club that not everybody supports. You don't want to be a Man City fan. You don't want to be a PSG fan, especially William Kelly wouldn't let you do that. So join the Spurs Army, join us, Luke. But big yourself up, my man. Big yourself up. And also, Luke, when your father's hiding the ketchup and mayo from you when he's cooking the burger for you, just speak to him. Just say, listen, I'm not Tanguy and Dembele. You're welcome to give me some burgers, and you're welcome to give me some ketchup and mayo. But big yourself up, Luke. And also, welcome to the Harris Army, my man. But also, William Kelly, big yourself up as well. Appreciate you, brother. Chris is in here with the nice donation as well. Thank you very much, Chris. Also, Chris, hopefully you're keeping well from one comedian to another as we get over to Kuva as well, the other comedian of the Harris Army. Kuva, coming to you now, finally. I mean, if you had to guess. Sorry, Dave. Yeah.
Spurs Squad is super sticker or super sticker. It was like a happy rhino lifting up a hype sign.
There we are, Spurs Squad. Thank you very much, my man. And also, I do like the super stickers. I apologize, the phone actually ran out of battery, so I don't have it right next to me. Wish I could take a look at it, Spurs Squad, but I do enjoy the stickers. But Kuva, if you had to guess right now, with maybe this war chest that supposedly is made available to us, or even if it isn't available to us, if you had to guess right now with Antonio Conte at the helm, do you see us spending big in the next window or two? Yes or no?
No.
Explain.
Well, it depends what you call spending big, really, doesn't it? Getting in something that you need, and people are so fond of the loan with option to purchase later. I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be expensive right at this moment in time, does it? You could pick up 3 or 4 players with that loan deal. But I mean, let's get realistic right at this moment. I've done my sombrero joke, so cheap laughs are achieved. I'm out of here. See you next week. No, I think with Conte, you just he must. I'm one of the people who also believes that he must have come knowing there is something available to improve this team, because he wants fast results. He doesn't want to hang around nursing little, sort of runts of the litter through getting up to the big time when they can't manage it. There's going to be some serious investment happening. It's just a question of, is it January or is it in the summer? Because it will be happening. Some of these players, we've already said it. We all say it. They're just not good enough. You can't teach Ben Davies to suddenly have pace. You can't teach Eric Dyer to suddenly head a ball when he used to duck under it every time. Some of the things that aren't working are just unfixable. You just need the recruitment. So it's going to happen.
I like what you said there, where you said, like, is spending big, fixing the very blatantly big problems and issues that we have with the squad, something that we've all seen, needs to be fixed. Is that even spending big, when we know these areas needs to be fixed?
Well, yeah. I mean, you do what you've got to do. I mean, if it needs a lot of money, then you've got to spend it. That's the only way. If you want to compete for the league title, you've got to spend big money. Is Levy giving into this now? Is he finally? If this war chest actually exists, which it's a bit hard to believe, isn't it? I mean, if we're honest,
it's all available to us, that's hard to believe. But
yeah,
you can how much profit's been made and then compared to, and then you think about how much Levy's been paying himself on that profit is maybe what's kind of a bit sickening.
Well, you also have to sort of put into the equation the feeling that all of this capital investment on the building, the ground, the business side of it, it's all secured on basically the name of the football team. Whereas when it works the other way round, the team is not getting the level of backing that business suggests we should have. So although we could have a war chest of 400 million, even if let's just pretend it is there. I mean, just for the sake of argument, how much is Levy really going to give up for his little nest egg? I can't see it. I mean, at the end of the day, it's still an investment company. They want a return on it. It can work well to a point, and I think that's what we've seen over the years. I mean, you've got to respect Levy. He did get the club up to this certain level, but we've been stuck there for a long time, and it's not going to change until his spending pattern changes.
Well said, Kuva. Actually, well broken down. Actually, as well, I will say. David, to you, just before get to William Kelly's here. If you had to say right now, maybe the certain articles that have been released, as well as Phillips, a bit of enlightenment towards us. If you see us spending in the next big window, do you see it happening? Do you see us spending big? And also, I kind of like what Kuva said. What is spending big when we know there are a million holes in the squad? But what do you say, David? Are you spending big in the next window? What do you say?
Do you know what? I just want to clear a couple of things up as well. Some people are asking, do we actually have 400 million readily available to spend, or is it we can spend up to 400 million without being in trouble with financial fair play? It's we can spend up to 400 million without breaching financial fair play, and that's what the article is about. But like we will get into it a bit further, but it's more to it because it's about how they're deciding to operate and run the club, more so than of why we don't actually have 400 million in cash. Yeah, we take in profits, but look, money's going out. I'd say we're still paying for the training complex, the stadium, whatever Levy land is coming up and stuff like that. So out of that money, I'd say there's a good proportion put back into bricks and mortar, which most investment people do anyway, because they say you can never really go wrong with putting money into like property and stuff like that. So we don't actually have 400 million available. But if the owners put their hands in their pocket, we would have a lot more money there to spend, because at the minute they're not putting anything in. Nothing's coming out of their pockets. It's purely ran on the own money it's generating. And this is why us Spurs fans get so frustrated, Jack, is because we're looking for them to bring in the players. They've had multiple opportunities before the stadium, going into the stadium. That's that summer, buy the players, buy the furniture after Champions League final. I mean, we've had multiple disappointments since, and they still haven't wanted to put the money right. Why are we sitting there looking at bringing in Matt Doherty, Joe Hart, Ryan Sessegnon, Jack Clark, Lo Celso, when we have the money to be getting better players? Why are we putting up with that mediocrity? And I argue if they even just signed them properly in the first place and spent the money on the big bucks, they wouldn't have to be putting so much in, because you even just look at right back. We've had 2 or 3 players since then to try and fix the issue. If we would have just spent the Kyle Walker money replacing Kyle Walker, you would have been better off doing it, and it'd probably be cheaper in the long run. So
we spent it all on Davinson Sanchez, actually.
Yeah, and it just annoys me. It's super annoying. Look, do I expect us to have 400 million to spend? No, I don't. Do I expect us to have at least 150 million there? Yes, I do. And I do think, look, we've all heard the rumours that has been made available. Apparently being made available to Conte to go and get the players. And like Philip was saying, I don't think Conte would have come here without having that assurance of having the big bucks to spend. He would have looked at our squad before he came in. He would have seen the holes. He would have known what players he needs to bring in to be able to push us forward, implement his style properly, and bring us to an acceptable level of where Tottenham Hotspur really should be. So look, for me, I definitely think there's at least 150, 200 million there to spend, just off what we've generated. But if the owners want to put money in, you could easily have 400 million to spend over the next 2 windows, Jack.
That's very true. And also, just as a quick disclaimer again, it's not 400 million available. It's just basically the big point to be made is that if you're trying to abide by financial fair play rules, we have 400 million to spend before we even hurt or basically break any rules whatsoever, where the likes of Man City can technically only spend 80 million. The likes, I think, of Liverpool, which is second compared to us, can spend like 270 million. Man United can only spend like 160 million. So this is kind of the point, is that we have generated that much profit and have also reinvested into, I don't know, everything from fill up beer cups to, the new stadium, and that's basically generated enough profit and as well as enough expenditure on the club and whatnot, that is technically what is available to us. Of course, it's not all sitting right there, under Levy's bed, like maybe brought up before, but it certainly is technically just points out to the fact how little we've spent in net spend compared to every other club around us in the top 6. But William Kelly saying, thank you, Jack. He was so excited. That's what makes me very happy, William Kelly. And again, he's indoctrinated into the Harris Army. It's the best army there is, as well as the Flat Cap Army. William Kelly, all I would say is that David and I maybe will send down a little, miniature size flat cap for him for the big holidays coming up. But William Kelly, very happy that it's made his day. Really, really excited about that.
Yeah,
pick yourself up, my man.
William Kelly, do get in contact. We'll send out a flat cap for the little lad, Luke. Luke, welcome to the Harris Army, my man. Big yourself up and make sure you're following the father's footsteps and following the mighty Tottenham Hotspur. Make sure you do. We will be mighty again. So bear with us, my man. Bear with us. Big up, Luke. Sorry for the...
Dave, let's get in there. Just one thing I want to, just not to clarify, but just to expand something here. Yep. That 226 million that we had in the accounts last year, right? Now, bear in mind, 175 million was repaid to the government, right? And this year's accounts are going to include the months where there was no fans in the ground.
Mm.
So, unless ENIC actually put in a cash injection, which will be evident in the accounts that are coming out very shortly, I don't think our cash reserves are going to be anywhere near what they were last year. Now, it's possible they did, because you don't pay back 175 million out of your back pocket, and it makes it a dent in the accounts, a big dent in the accounts. So it'll be very interesting to see what's what. So that makes me think that there's something that's happened in the last financial year, that we still have money to spend, but we didn't earn it from the football side. So it'll be interesting to see where it came from. Did ENIC actually put their hands in their pockets eventually and bail the club out up to a point? Because that loan wasn't even due to be repaid. They repaid it early.
Whoa. So that does mean that something was, maybe dipped into, maybe for the first time ever, actually, and possibly, that's been the anti-business model as well, as to dip into their own pockets,
so maybe that's what's happened. We'll know in 2 weeks' time whenever they come out.
There we are. Philip is on the ball there. Philip is on the ball. True Sets Free saying, spent morning in Arsenal live watch along, rooting on the Spurs women. Arsenal fans have met the truth. And even though we laugh together, I don't think they like it, because I told them winners are joining the club by the day. There you are, True Sets Free. Also, we were so close. We were so close to getting that 1-0 snatch and grab win. And also, I will say, big up to the Spurs ladies, because I think they're actually kind of outperforming, expectations this season, and are sitting third in the table, if I'm not mistaken, behind Chelsea. And that would have been an excellent opportunity to take some points off of the scum that are leading the top of the table at the moment. But I would say big up to the Spurs ladies.
Missed an open goal to go 2-0 up as well.
I didn't see that part. The highlights didn't come out, but I was getting kind of the play-by-play on my phone. But I would say big up to the Spurs ladies, though. They're absolutely having a fantastic season so far. I think, I'm not mistaken, kind of actually outperforming the original expectations. And so I would say they were so close, though, they were so close to taking a bit of scum, take a bit of points off the scum, something that we have yet to do this season. So they're definitely showing us how it's done. But big up True Sets Free. Give them the winner's talk. Give them that winner's talk that they all definitely deserve. And also really appreciate the big one as well. True Sets Free. Appreciate the big one, my man. Jerome saying we could spend 400 million without breaking financial fair play rules, but because we are run like a business and not a winning club. No signing under Poch for over 500 days. I'm very cautious about that war chest, to be honest, or maybe I think that's what it is. TBG. Yeah. What do you think, Kuva? I mean, we didn't spend very much under Pochettino. It is kind of skeptical that I don't think it is the case that we have 400 million available to us, but it does show, maybe with also some of the information Philip has just said, there's maybe more money that's available that meets the eye.
It's Daniel Levy, isn't it? I mean, who's going to trust him? I mean, this is the big worry. I know it's not just me that worries about it, but what happens when he says one day to Conte, no, you can't, and Conte just wanted that one player or something to make all the difference. It's going to explode then. We could have a very short reign of Conte. That is a worry. What I am hopeful of, and let's face it, we're Spurs, so we are eternally hopeful, is that Levy got to that point now where he realises we can't just wing our way into getting to the top 4 again. We've actually got to do this investment. We might even need to dip into that money that we never dip into, as in Joe Lewis's pocket. Just to get the
undippable
club,
money.
elevate the club back to where it was a few years ago, because they want their cash cow back. They want it back in the stirrups. They want their little milkmaid at the teats, just draining off everything they can get. I mean, but
It's an existential crisis of the cash cow.
But if they give Conte the money to do what they think is just going to be good enough for top four, I think Conte will get first. I think he could win the league with that kind of investment, because we're so far behind where we should be now. So I think that 150 million, I think that's a realistic sort of sum to be talking about.
Yeah.
What I really like is it comes back again to, you're not paying out lump sums for transfers. If you're paying 90 million for somebody, you're not. You're loaning them for a year, then you're paying installments over 5 years. So that 150 million actually goes a very long way if you spend it wisely.
Yeah, it should be plenty. And it should be plenty.
And we're in that environmental climate where lots of other clubs still don't have the money coming in. So we could fleece them.
Yeah. Plus the transfer fees for the players we sell as well. That'll make it even better.
But that there.
Big up draw.
Comments. It's the no signings under Posh for over 500 days.
Okay.
That's what Levy's also capable of. So
we have to be honest, and like you said, Kuba, it's someone that you can't even trust. Even if he gave you, £10 on the street, you probably think there might be a catch to it. Maybe it's also, fake paper or something. But I definitely agree, Jerome. Forged, but definitely, Jerome. I definitely agree. It is someone we always have to be skeptical of. It is someone we always have to maybe just, look at it a different way. Maybe know that there is some sort of catch to it. But big up, Jerome. Thank you again, my man. Thank you very much. But Tottenham Tantrum saying, I'm embarrassed and disgusted. How dare he treat us fans like this for years? We have suffered for years. We've been crying out for new players. And he then offers himself £7 million. Please, for the love of God, please back off now. Philip, what do you say to this? Honestly, I feel like Dermot's actually on the right path here, where we did see him. He's the most he pays himself more than any other director of football. He pays himself more than any other club president. He practically, by the, I think your metrics, more than doubled, his own salary at one point for practically no reason at all, especially when we were supposed to be saving money on the stadium and everything. What do you make of this? He's basically just paying himself more up, basically off of the fans' dime.
Well, he paid himself that $7 million on the euphoria of us moving into the stadium. That he
a $7 million bath
himself on the back. I've done a great job, lads. I'm paying myself $7 million. What he gave himself last year, nearly just a short $3 million, was still too much. But at least he didn't take another $7 million. That's one way of looking at it. Like I knew when I would read that was going to cause a bit of consternation, that figure, because it surprised me when I had to double check it. Now the accounts didn't name the person, but it's blatantly obvious. He's a director of the football club, and who else is there? Nobody else got that money. So Dermot's very right. It's frustrating. It's extremely frustrating. And just to harp back to the accounts, and this is the last time I mention it. One other thing that's going to be included in this year's accounts that wasn't in last year's is the payoff to Jose Mourinho.
Yeah,
which is going to be interesting.
Yeah, we'll break that down later. There you are.
That was made after June 20. So it's going to be very, very interesting.
Yeah.
But big up Tottenham Tantrum, big up Dermot. Everybody else, check out Tottenham Tantrum Gold. Just came back from a watch along over there alongside Kuva, going over the big cup finals and whatnot, basically reliving the glory days, not the profit days, but reliving the glory days. So big up Tottenham Tantrum. And also thank you for the big one, my man. Absolute legend. B Filmmaker saying, Ben Wills, long night, lads. And great job, David. Actually, why do I not know who Ben Wills is, David?
No, he does. He comes on the pre-match pump up. Ben Wills. He's always on the pre-match pump up, living the life over in Spain. Big yourself up, my man.
Oh, that Ben. Big up, Ben. There he is. I know the face. I do know the face. So big up, Ben. Really hope you're keeping well. And also, thank you very much, my man. Also, hopefully you're keeping well down in nice, beautiful Spain. That sounds absolutely lovely this time of year. Brian C. Socrates, especially since I have a leak in my own apartment at the moment from all the rain. So that sounds absolutely brilliant. Brian C. Socrates saying, if we back Conte in the next 2 transfer windows, we can now attract the top players. Best stadium, plus training ground in the Premier League, a London location, one of the top 3 managers in Premier League, Dom Paratici as the director of football. Time to flash the cash and time to dare. That is the philosophical. I don't even know how he comes up with these, David. He honestly should be a poet as well with some of these. But seriously, you think that Conte is going to attract the best players. That was sort of the case with Jose, but with Jose, it's just he wasn't being given the funds, wasn't really being given the players. But we know that Jose would have attracted top players. We know that definitely Antonio Conte will attract top players. We also know that to a degree, the size of, the training ground, the size of the stadium, also the very sleeping giant fan base that we sort of are as well, I think would also attract a lot of people. I mean, now that we have maybe what we said earlier, Dave, I think, Brian C. Socrates is kind of on the same page I was once. When you actually think about it, kind of have like 5-part kind of system there. Best stadium in London, best training ground in the Premier League, a London location, one of the best managers in world football, a great director of football. You seem like it's all the right reasons for, Daniel Levy to finally start splashing the cash.
Look, at Tottenham Hotspur, even when we weren't reaching the heights we've reached, we've always managed to attract a couple of world-class players to Tottenham Hotspur. Look, going back into the 90s, you had Jurgen Klinsmann here. You know what I mean? We managed to get David Ginola. You know what I mean? And, that carries on right through. So we've always been able to attract, world-class players to Tottenham Hotspur, even in some of our worst of times. So, look, for me, I can't see why we can't attract the top players. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, get this mess sorted out, get the club, get things on the field moving in the right way. You know what I mean? The players will come. This is something that hopefully people want to be a part of. Yeah, you have Newcastle with their takeover and their supposedly, revolution. But, you're going to want to come to Tottenham. You have the best stadium in the world. You have the best training facilities in the world. You have a hotel you can sleep in if you have a Barney with the missus or want to get away from the kids. You know what I mean? It's absolutely ideal to come here. You're going to be working under one of the best managers. And look, managers can attract players to the club themselves just by the name. You hear loads of players from world football all over come out and talk about, certain managers that they love to play under and stuff like that. And people have a lot of respect for Conte in the game. Why wouldn't they want to come to Tottenham Hotspur? Look, we will attract the best players. That will come. The next 2 transfer windows will tell already. It will tell everything. The January transfer window, look, I don't want to hear any excuses about it's a transfer window. It's tricky, this, that, and the other. At the end of the day, you need to get things right. You go and pay the money to solve the problem. It's that simple. You know what I mean? And then as well, look, January, even come the summer, there's no excuses not to be able to fill this squad out with another 3, 4, 5 players and really get this moving in the right direction. But quality players. I don't want to see a young player coming in from the Championship that has potential. I don't want to see, a nobody coming in from Spain that, no one really heard of, you know what I mean, or anything like that. I want proper established players that come to this club and drag us in the right way, get us back to Champions League, get a foothold in top 4 in the Premier League and move on from there. And Conte is the man to do it with. If they don't do it now, they're never, ever going to do it and just get set for eternal disappointment after this. It has to be done now. But big up, Brian C.
Honestly, poetic there, Brian C. Absolutely poetic. And as always, to Socrates, hopefully you're keeping us well. And also, hopefully you're keeping well as Brian C. And also, Brian C., I would say you're bringing everybody through your cave. You're bringing everybody through your Plato's cave of Spurs as well. But Truth Sets Free saying, Kuva, the hardest working Spur on TV today. He dominated. I was going to say, Kuva, you actually did what I probably, because I had to prepare for this show, you did what I knew that I couldn't do today, which is basically 7 hours straight, my man. But we'll let you touch on this. Kuva, the hardest working Spur on TV today. He dominated the Spurs trivia. If anyone saw, I saw the end, and his points total was goofy high. There you are. Kuva, you dominated in the quiz today. You educated me earlier on the watch along, and now you're about to give your answers on the Kaniki Answer Me. And Kuva, I mean, you must be absolutely, I don't even know how you're standing right now or even sitting, in your chair straight. I mean, you put in an absolute all-nighter.
I could sit and talk Spurs for 72 hours straight.
No eating or drinking.
I'll just love it. There's so much to talk about, so many different aspects of the club. It's brilliant. I'm certainly not the hardest working Spur out there, though. Thank you, the truth. I really appreciate the kind words, but I mean, compared to Jack and David, even you look at the amount of work they put in behind the scenes, preparing those analysis on how we're going to play, getting themselves around all the other channels, bigging up the channel names, filling in for other people. They go off. David goes off to the Twins channel to fill in for them when they go off to the match. I don't bother with any of this. I'm lazy as hell. I'll just wing it.
Well, for someone that's winging it, my man, you're doing a pretty good
You're
job.
absolutely
I'll tell you
smashing
that.
it. Don't tell anybody that you are, Kuva. Don't tell anybody that you are. Pick yourself up. Truth sets free. And also, thank you for recognizing the absolute legend that Kuva is. He's absolutely putting a real shift in tonight. And so pick yourself up. Truth sets free. Hopefully, you're just relaxing on the couch tonight. Hopefully, you're just enjoying yourself in beautiful old Massachusetts as well. Pick yourself up, my man. But we are going to move on to the next question here. This one I feel like is going to be a bit of an interesting one, considering that, maybe taking this study into mind, Spurs' business model, Philip, is supposedly our method to closing the gap on the top six. That business model has accrued profits over time that supposedly will be made available for transfers and wages. Does this mean that none of the transfer fees / wages spent on players come from the owners? And in fact, all of these profits made available have only come from the fans' own pockets. Basically, in another way of saying it, have we over time been building up the funds to pay for players like Dusan Vlahovic without Levy and Enoch spending a dime themselves, or is that untrue?
Well, subject to this year's accounts coming up, that's been the case for the last 10 years, possibly.
We've been paying for Dusan Vlahovic and whatnot.
The accumulated reserves are something like just short of 300 million, I think. I think that's cash plus whatever bits and pieces that we've left over the last few years, and that's all come from it. That's been generated by literally the likes of me, you, everybody traipsing down the Tottenham High Road, going into the shop and buying a shirt, paying 11 quid for a beer and a hot dog. That's where it's come from. It hasn't come from Joe Lewis. It hasn't come from Daniel Levy. They've just sat back and took the profits, never took a dividend. So it's, as I said, that's said with the caveat that this year's accounts may show something different, because I'd just be very interested to see how that big loan was paid back to the government, because there was no money coming in from turnstiles, So have to wait and see on that one. But no, we basically we bought any player that's come into that club in the last few years. We all have a 50,000 share in some of these players, from the money we've spent over the years with them, So it's a pity we didn't buy Harry Kane, David, because you could claim then you owned a bit of him,
I was just going to say.
I do now. Look, Harry Kane loves me. We own each other, me and Harry.
That's it. No, it's as I said, up to now, it's been fan generated funds. Whether that changes now with the coming of Conte, we'll have to wait and see.
There it goes, everybody. If you're a huge Christian Romero fan, like me, myself, I'm a big Tanguy fan, even though I will say we did kind of spend a bit too much on the guy. We can practically say, a lot of us, that, we, maybe bought, at least some portion of those players. Maybe you had one too many, at the bar, at maybe in the club, maybe you got one too many hot dogs, like maybe Philip said. All that just went towards maybe getting one of those big, nice players into the club. Maybe one of the flops as well. So you can look at it a couple of different ways. But
whoever
certainly,
bought that Dele Alli's hairstyle, one needs a refund anyway.
Pay-per-view Dele Alli's haircuts. That's definitely true. But to you, Kuva, I mean, simply said, over this 10-year period where we've generated this much profit, and, Daniel Levy has said verbatim, even in his own propaganda video in times past, that we don't spend big on players. We try to, use the profit made by the stadium in order to spend in the transfer window. Does this basically mean, if we sign someone like a Dusan Vlahovic, or even some of the players we've signed in the past, has actually been somewhat paid for by the fans?
In that respect, you've got to say Levy was honest, because he made no bones about the point that the club was going to be self-funding. So at no point has he said we'll dip in. Joe Lewis and I were just going to chuck in 500 million. We'll just go crazy. We knew this was the case. It's all the things we don't know, isn't it? We don't know to what extent money is being siphoned out of that to go towards other things. We know it's not coming in from elsewhere, but is it trickling out where it shouldn't be? It's a tough one to answer that, because we have to guess so much as fans, don't we? I mean, at the end of the day, it's all speculation, all of us here, isn't it? Well, it's great when people are doing some research on it, and from universities and things, they got a little bit more qualification to it. But otherwise, you can only guess so far. All I know is simplifying it. You look at the simple facts. We know we're one of the richest clubs in the world. Are we spending that matches that? Are we spending on par with the likes of Liverpool, which perhaps we should be a little bit behind that, but not far. But we should be up there with some of the biggest clubs around in the world. It's what we've done so far, really matching it. I don't think so.
I don't think so either. And it's actually kind of funny that you did say that, because I kind of horribly went through the pain today, Kuva, of rewatching that propaganda video that came out, over the summer. And he did verbatim say that, all of the funds supposedly generated by the new stadium, by the concerts, by the NFL games are going to go back into, the transfer funds, and to the wages as well for the club. But we do kind of think to ourselves, yet there are so many holes in the squad. There's so many places that need filling. There's so much improvement that's needed. And it seems like, we're a bit cash strapped at the moment, but all of a sudden, we have this big, chest available to us, at least when it comes to the 150 million that's said. But there you are. I mean, I kind of agree to a degree. Levy didn't lie to our faces this time. He kind of told us plain simply that, it's all being paid for by you guys, and we're not going to dip into our own pockets. It's actually a great answer. David, what about for you there? I mean, basically, have we been paying for the likes of Gio Lo Celso? Have we been paying for the likes of Tanguy? We've been paying for Jack Clark, of all people as well.
Yeah, look, of course we have. Look, us, the TV and the sponsorship money coming in, I think we've combined. I think it's paid for more or less everything at this club. Wages, transfer fees on players coming in. It's I'll be honest with you, it's just really upsetting to kind of see it. Look, I get you could probably have the impact of the coronavirus and stuff on financials, but the fact of the matter is, I can guarantee you, most other owners have put money into their clubs over the course of the pandemic. The money that we've took in as profits have probably paid for that, And the thing is, why can't they put money into to fund the transfers? Why does it always have to be on revenue that's brought into the club? Like, the thing is, it's kind of like, where's the ambition? Sometimes every great businessman spends a little more than what he should. But usually, so the rewards, when you put money in, the rewards usually come. But at Tottenham, they don't want to put money in. What they want is to be able to kind of chase the top down the top four with as cheaply as possible. And because at the end of the day, look, the money they're putting into, like some of the money they are generating and stuff like that, and that they are putting into the likes of properties and all, that's for their gain in long term. Because if they ever do sell the club, the amount of money that they're going to be able to sell it for is going to be astronomical. And they're all going to get a piece of the pie, But like, what? There's a couple of times, more than a couple of times, especially over the last couple of years, where they should have put their hands in the pocket. They shouldn't just be relying on what we're bringing in. Yes, that's great and everything else, but my God, show some ambition. Like, the thing is, we probably wouldn't have to be sitting where we are right now in the Europa Conference League if they would have just put that money in. You know what I mean? Over time, instead of relying on what's been coming in. And I would even go as far as arguing that there's no way we've spent nearly enough, especially over the profit that we've accumulated over the last few years. You even see our net spend in terms of players that we've sold to players that we've brought in. I think we've made a profit. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think we've actually even made a profit there, or we've only spent like 20 million outside of that. Yeah. So is that money that we're generating, that we're putting into the club, even going on transfers? If we're selling players and buying players, there's not that much of a difference. Is our money actually even going on transfers? Where is it going?
I would just say maybe everybody, if you want to get Dusan Vlahovic in, potentially just have that extra can at the stadium, potentially just get that extra burger or whatnot, might go towards the Dusan Vlahovic fund. But definitely so. But going on here. But no ketchup is available, reportedly, for even fans, like it was said before. True Sets Free saying, breaking news, United are in talks, but Sean Dyche, that seems hard to believe. But
I think
hopefully.
Oh, that'd be a great one. Oh,
Honestly,
God.
I will say, at least he's a straight talking manager compared to someone like Ole Gunnar Schuhscheiner. At the end of the day, I do kind of like Sean Dyche's press conferences. When Jose was in the league, you might say those guys were competing for the most entertaining press conferences. Now it's probably Sean Dyche is still holding the title for that one. At least some of his press conference answers are pretty hilarious. I think at one point he was playing looky likey or something like that, and during a press conference. But Truth Sets Free says Poirier, also Gus Poirier to United as well. Certainly, again, anybody better than the Schuhscheiner, but maybe I would actually, David, if quickly, would you rather have Gus Poirier at United or would you rather have Schuhscheiner?
Dyche, Poirier, or Schuhscheiner, it doesn't bother me. It just
Same level
keep
of
holding
shit.
United back. It's absolutely fantastic.
Loving that. Itsan Khan is a new member, and I want to see you Monday because this guy's an absolute legend of the second channel, David. He's an absolute legend. He always gives me fantastic recommendations for players. He's almost like he's a fellow flat cap scout. I know Kuva is honestly a legend of the flat cap army as well. He's an honestly fantastic scout as well, but we have the army of the flat cap army. So many beautiful scouts, so much European knowledge. Itsan Khan is one of them. He really is. He really is one of them as well. True Sets Free saying after gifting us Conte post El Sacico, do you think United will do well under Daniel Farke? And do you think he will go 7 at the back like Norwich? David, what do you say? I mean, at Norwich, do you think Daniel Farke can be able to go over to United and maybe do a bit better than Schuhscheiner, or still all the same?
I'll be honest with you, I couldn't give a crap about Norwich United or like on Schuhscheiner or Farke. All I care about is Conte, Tottenham Hotspur, and my country, Ireland. That's all I care about. Look, if Farke went into United, they won't do well. Look, I'll just give a quick summary. My belief is United will not go back to winning anything until they get rid of Paul Pogba. I think he's a very, very bad influence on the squad. I don't think he sets the right standards and tones around the players and around the training. I think he's more of a massive problem than what people are letting on. And my belief is until they let Paul Pogba go, they're going absolutely nowhere.
Wow, there you go.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Big up the Truth Sets You Free. What a legend.
Just by the way, I do believe Coy's Elias is joining us as well, and he actually said, and I do have proof of it on Instagram, I just can't look at it at the moment, but I did just take a look at it, David. Apparently Antonio Conte liked his own comment.
Yeah, he did. He liked his comment. Yeah, he liked his comment.
There you go. I mean, David, that would send shivers through me in the best kind of way. Seriously, would it be like David? It's like Jesus Christ, looking at your own comment, on Instagram. Seriously, but big yourself up, Elias. Hopefully, you're keeping well, my man. Big yourself up. But we are going to move on now, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to move on to the next one. And to Kuva, if it's all right that I go to you first, with the stingy business model of profit over glory, bearing in mind. Spurs have often been described as, that club that runs on a more of a business model than a trophy winning model. Take us back to the days of when Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher had that nice little argument about Gary Neville kind of, worshiping Daniel Levy, and then Jamie Carragher was like saying you're ridiculous. But with this stingy model, can it be put to the side for the time being, temporarily put to the side while Antonio Conte is at the helm? What do you say?
Yes. I think the final straw came when Levy heard an entire stand at the ground calling for him, calling his name out for the wrong reasons. He won't have liked that both on the ego level, as other people have said, but business sense as well. If your business plans are built around the name of the football club, and the football club is consistently not doing what you need, it's basically, for him, he views the club as an organic advertising suite. So if your advertising is going badly, you need to put more money into it.
Yeah.
Perhaps he's going to just say, look, we're in trouble. Sorry, Mr. Lewis, I've screwed up. Can we put a few quid into the club, please? We need something now to fix this mess. And it'll be, oh, Daniel, here you go then, son. Because it's
you're only supposed to ask every 20 years, Daniel. This
isn't
is
it? It's God's son or something like that. There's some sort of family.
I think there is actually. I think there is some Godfather
family thing going on there.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the big hope. Is we just reached that breaking point with Levy. And he is actually going to do something. Conte's going to badger him for it. He's not going to put up with shit. He's not going to put up with budget signings like Ben Davis coming through the doors. He's going to want quality players. If we're not getting them, all hell's going to break loose. Paratici, going to have his hands full because he's got to first deal with the wrath of Conte if nothing's coming in, and then try and convince Levy that things need to happen. Paratici's job is bringing the unstoppable force into that immovable object and turning it all into the movable object. That's what's going to happen. So yeah, I think we're at that point where it just needs to be done. Too much is broken with the team.
I totally agree. Well said. Actually a great transition. You gave me a good transition opportunity as well. So I'm going to Philip here. Philip, is Daniel Levy, did he go to Joe Lewis and just said, listen, Joe, I made an oopsie. I hurt the club. I need a bit of that cash that, maybe supposedly you have. Need you to sell one of those art pieces, from the yacht, to maybe fund a few players to get into the club. I made a big oopsie. Do you mind cleaning it up for me? Is that what maybe is going to happen? He's going to temporarily, kind of ditch the business model and actually invest for once?
Well, I think the 30th of October, 2021 is probably going to go, should mark that in your diary. That's the day things changed at Tottenham Hotspur. That was the day where we've had all these protests going on since, way back there, and very well-meaning protests, and totally right that there should be protests made. But they were probably of such a magnitude that Daniel Levy was barely aware of them. But the minute the crowd at the Man United game turned on Levy, and you don't have 60,000 people shouting your name, and you'll notice it quicker than you will if a couple of hundred people are doing it. I think that was the day Daniel Levy realized things had to change. It must have been, because we wouldn't have Antonio Conte as manager today if things hadn't been, himself and Joe Lewis got their heads together and said, listen, lads, something's got to happen here. So I think what's happened there is Conte has come in and made his demands. Levy has agreed to them, knowing full well that if he doesn't keep his promises, you won't see Conte's heels for dust down the high road. He's done it at Inter. He'll do it again. So I think temporarily at least, now hopefully it'll last for a couple of years while Conte is still with us. But I think Daniel Levy has finally realized that we're not just a business. We're a football club. And the object of every football club is to win trophies, not to present a lovely balance sheet to your board members. Didn't we do well, lads? Oh, yeah, you did. But where's the trophies for the last 13 years? Now
that's not part of the balance sheet, though, Philip. That doesn't.
Forgive my language. Fuck the balance sheet. Let's show us the trophies.
Yeah,
there you are. Absolute mic drops from both Philip and Dave.
And we have the man to do it now. And we've got to whatever Conte wants. If Conte says, Levy, jump over that settee there, and Levy said, "Right, just the one of them. Well, I'll jump over another one as well, just to keep you happy." He's got to keep him happy. Got to keep Conte happy. And if Conte's happy, he's going to have a winning team under him, and we will go places. But if Levy fecks this one up, I just do not know what future holds. Nobody will touch us with a barge pole.
Yeah, well said. Honestly, as well, like Philip just said, keep Conte happy. Ben Wills is now a new member of the Harris Army. Big yourself up, Ben. Also, we will be seeing you Monday. We'll have a nice warm seat for you right there, Ben. Hopefully you're keeping well, my man. And also, I will say again, considering the absolute torrential downpour that has happened today in New York, I would kill to be over in Spain at the moment. I really would be. The subways, I bet, are flooding again tonight. But David, with this stingy business model that has been so characteristic of Levy and ENIC, will it be all cast to the side maybe for the time being, in order, like Philip said, and Kuva, to keep Mr. Conte happy?
I'll be honest with you, I would like to think so, Jack. Form says no. Form says I don't think they care the magnitude of the manager. I mean, look, Pochettino got us to a Champions League final. You know what I mean? Something that Spurs fans never probably thought we'd see in our life. And, they got rid of him and blamed him and made him a part of the problem. They brought in Jose Mourinho. You're thinking no option. Have to back him. You back him. You bring success. They wouldn't do that properly. Look, for me, I think Philip's right. I think, when the match day going fans at the stadium, as soon as you start hearing his name inside the stadium, I think that's probably what maybe caused them to change and bringing in Antonio Conte. Look, the thing is, he can make promises and assurances to Conte, but I'll be honest with you, I like with the players, I don't care what your words are, I want to see actions. So, look, only time will tell. only time will tell us whether they're going to put it aside for Conte. But if you're going on the history that, you know, of Enoch and Levy, no, I don't think they will. But I would hope that they've probably realised that they've backed themselves so far into a corner with the Newcastle takeover, with how far City they spend every year, Chelsea, you know what I mean, they spend every year, Liverpool, they bring in 1 or 2 every year, United spend every year, you know what I mean, and there's a couple more clubs that are kind of gradually starting to catch up with us. And hopefully now that it might have made them panic, realise that they fall from grace, realise that fans will not take it, realised, I think as well, a massive part of it was that they were struggling to sell out like the likes of Vitesse games and stuff like that at £15 a ticket, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. So I'd say it was starting to scare them, because I know other people that were trying to change, that were trying to use their ticket exchange to kind of give their tickets away on a ticket exchange so someone else can have them. And the club wouldn't take the tickets back because they couldn't even sell what they had. So all in all, sales on tickets, I'd say club shop sales and everything were going down. Look, we've seen it here as content creators. People were just losing interest in even the channels and stuff like that, even just talking about Tottenham. People were just getting pissed off and had enough of it. So hopefully that all of that has kind of maybe hopefully made them change their ways. But look, I'll be honest with you, Jack. I'm for him, no, but only time will tell, my man.
Kuba, you want to say something?
Yeah, I was just going to add to it. Does this mean we're going to have a Daigle day? Do we have a happy Daigle day?
That should be the happy Daigle day. It really should be. The National Daigle day. It really should be.
I'm up for that.
You can canonize him.
Yeah. I mean,
No,
I would say
nothing
though,
to do with cannons at this club.
He really has, though, been like, he's been a knight in shining armor. He really has been. He's been a knight in shining armor because, I don't know, like there are so many moments when, you know, he was, you know, standing out there in the cold, you know, basically, you know, with not many others beside him that, you know, and he basically traveled across the freaking planet in order to be there to stand by his word and what he meant about Enoch and Levy. So all I can say is, everybody, you can definitely thank Daigle for almost a lot of it. You really can't thank him for a lot of it. And also, he's been an absolute man of his word. He's been a knight in shining armor. He was going to join us tonight, but he's definitely under the weather, so I've been told, and everything. But big up Brian Daigle if you are watching. Absolute legend. Absolute legend. But like Philip said earlier, you know, what was the date exactly again, Philip? You did, you know, you've been well prepared.
October 2021.
Big up. Big up. There it is. There it is. The first also, maybe, you know, like the year of the cockerel as well. You know, the first, it seems to be.
But you could say the 1st of November either, because that's the day Nuno was sacked. So, you know, you can work between the 2 days, you know. Or the 2nd of November when Conte was appointed. Any of those 3 days will do.
We'll take a whole Daigle weekend. We'll take a whole Daigle weekend every year.
Yeah.
But there you are. There you are. Everybody's loving the mic drops from Kuba and Philip from earlier. Truth sets free, saying blaming Kane for not scoring on Spurs is like blaming Randy Moss for not catching touchdowns, even though his quarterback can't get the ball to him. I'm not really too well aware of NFL references. I do know Randy Moss is an NFL player. Truth sets free, but definitely I will say it is kind of like, you know, basically at the end of the day, he needs the service. He needs the service. I think that's what he means, Dave. Maybe you might not understand the NFL reference either, but I think that's all he's basically saying is he needs the service at the end of the day, Harry Kane. You can't be a world-class striker without a bit of service. Even somebody said before, you know, Vlahovic could walk into this team right now, still wouldn't score. Messi could walk into this team right now, still wouldn't score. Ronaldo would walk into this team right now, still wouldn't score.
Look, it's same player, different service. That's all I can say. You know, you start putting the balls in the box, you're going to get goals. I've said it all along. Look, I'm just going to keep saying this every time. You know, people ask me about the Harry Kane situation. Now, I'm just going to say, you know, class is permanent. You know, form is only temporary. So, you know, I mean, that's just my response to it all. Now, I'll be honest with you. I've done the Lord's work. I've done the good work. I don't need to keep doing it. Now, Harry Kane's going to take over and continue. Big up the truth.
Big up True Sets for you. Absolute legend.
Everybody,
Absolute legend.
make sure you smash that like button. We have over 200 in house. Let's get it up to 200 likes. Make sure you smash that like button. Make sure you smash that subscribe button. Come on, guys. The big push to 5K is on. And look, guys, like so many before, you keep getting the super chats in. It is a great way to support the channel. And, you know, it's a great way to skip the queue and get your questions asked. Do not worry, though. We will get everybody's comments up on screen. As you can see so far throughout the show, the evidence is there. We do try to include everybody. But obviously, you know, if people put in a super chat, we're taking our time to address it. You know, they're putting in our good hard-earned money to get our opinions. So big yourselves up.
Aaron Dupp, though, quickly saying right here, Mr. Daigle is resting after all he did for us. It's like, God rested on the seventh day. Dave, Mr. Daigle rested on the seventh day after all he's done for us. So figure yourself up, Aaron. I couldn't agree more. Lightwork saying, Harry Kane back, baby. Got the motivation for Conte. Yeah, I bet that's what it was. I bet that's what it was. He got, a bit of the Zoom call, probably from Antonio Conte before the match saying, listen, the service that you'll be getting tonight, is definitely what you'll be getting when you come back to Spurs. And also hopefully as well, maybe there are a few Albanian defenders in the Leeds lineup that would definitely help a bit as well. But light work, I definitely could not agree more. Harry Kane, he definitely seems like he's maybe returning hopefully back to form. Maybe it's come a bit later than we would have liked. At the same time, the guy certainly has earned, a bit of a out of form patch. He certainly has earned it for how long he's been with us and how much good work he's done for us. But light work, as always, big yourself up, my man. Really appreciate the support. We are going to move on, everybody, to a bit of a different topic, I would say, in that regard, but it actually is an interesting one. I think regardless, it is still going to be an interesting one. It has to do with all the managerial sackings that have actually happened here. And speaking of which, there has been an article released that says that Spurs have spent more on managerial sacking fees than any other club in the Premier League. And that fee is £85.9 million. Is this just a simple case of pure mismanagement by Daniel Levy to you, Kuva, first? Also, does this indicate that our continued problem with expecting managers to basically wave that big old magic wand without having any backing whatsoever? I mean, what do you make of this? We've spent now in the Premier League era more on managerial sacking fees than any other club.
Galloping mismanagement. It just shows how much Levy understands the football side of things. It's not just that it's different managers coming in, it's different styles all the time as well. Levy knows some names. He's heard a couple of names. Oh, let's go for them. Or I've seen them win something. Let's go for them. It flips and flops.
He's
constantly.
hot right now.
Yeah. It flips and flops constantly, which means you end up buying a squad to suit one manager. Next one comes in, you need different types of players. It's why you end up with this aging, decaying squad that we had left over from Pochettino's era, where the investment had dried up for over 500 days. That's when the rot started in. Then you get Mourinho come in, and he's going to want it more defensive, build a counter attack. Different style of play. He wants those more sort of defensive-minded players. Fine, but you haven't got the players for it. Then he's out. Mason's in for just a short time. He wants to play passing game, get the attack going. It's erratic all over the place. Yeah, there are a few goals. I mean, to his credit, we actually played a couple of nice little games, but you could see he wasn't going to go anywhere with it. Can't fix that sort of squad. And then we're flopping back then to Nuno, ultra defensive. Let's forget all those passing players again. Let's get all really defensive ones in again.
It's the Tottenham way of just sacking managers, I guess, by the point of it.
Yeah, this is why I've always been a fan of the way Ajax do things. You've got this set way the club plays football. That's DNA. All the players, all the coming into the team from the youth setup, they all know how to play it. They've all spent time in midfield, time in defence. They know the different roles. They can slot into each of them. They can all play football. That's the really key bit. You don't get these sort of blundering, dire type people that can't pass a ball unless he's got about 2 weeks of thinking time. Or even the likes of I think we're coming on to the subject a bit later, so I'll ease off. I was going to talk about Emerson as well, but we'll wait for later on that one. It's just the constant sacking of managers has been so chronically bad for us because the style of play changes all the time as well.
Do you think it's also the case, though, as well, Kuva, as a follow-up, that we've continued to hire different managers and expect it's almost the definition of insanity. Hire different managers, expect, different results. But the thing that has remained constant is there's been no backing for each manager. So we just expect whatever manager we hire, keep the same players, but maybe this time, this manager will wave the magic wand. This, manager will find, a tune in the players, when in fact, every manager at the end of the day, no matter how poor, no matter how great, they need backing.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it also ties in with what I said about flip-flopping as well. It's all well and good to back the manager, but if you've got a squad that half of them know how to play one way, half of them know how to play a different way, you can't just put it all right in one transfer window. It's going to take a long time, and we don't give managers time. Of course we don't. It's mismanagement from Levy because he doesn't understand how football works. He may even be that Spurs fan he pretends to be, but I don't think so. But maybe he is. It's just he's got no clue. He clearly knows how to make some money, though. So it touches again on his salary, that massive salary of his. You know what? If he had managed to build us a team that started winning trophies, nobody would even mention how much he earns.
No one would really care.
Wouldn't matter, would it?
No, it wouldn't. That's actually well said, actually, Kuva. To you, Philip, we've broken another record here, as people have said in the comments. Another one to add to the trophy cabinet. More spent on managerial sacking fees than any other club in the Premier League era, and 85.9 million total spent on managerial sacking fees. Philip, what does this tell you about the hierarchy? What does this tell you about the man in charge?
I'll tell you what it says about the game of football in general. Being a football manager, it must be the only job on the earth that you get a huge payoff for failure.
That's what I've heard before. You could drop a million dishes and get paid for it.
None of these guys would have been sacked if they'd been successful. Well, okay, Pochettino will leave to one side because he was relatively successful. I mean, what I just don't get it, because if you're sacked from a job for not doing your job, you're lucky to get away with your last week's wages. Never mind a 14 million payoff. Now, how the hell did Nuno arrange that? He was in the job 5 minutes. He was supposed to be earning 4 million a year, and he gets a payoff of 14 million. Now,
seems like you almost did that intentionally. Then,
let's go and manage Spurs. We can triple our salary in 6 months. By getting sacked. I'm beginning to wonder: is Daniel Levy's reason for paying such high figures to these guys going? Is he scared they're going to go out and go public? Like, I would say there's non-disclosure agreements. There's an NDA in there, and every single one of those, because you've never really seen anybody come out and dish the dirt on him yet.
Yeah.
Okay, there's been little rumors about things, and he's tight, and he's this, that, and the other. But I don't know. I'll go back to what Kuba said. It's poor, pathetic management in the first place. Really, he should be able to negotiate a much, much smaller payoff to someone who's ultimately not done the job they were hired for. He just seems to be saying, "Take the money and go and get out of me hair, and just don't annoy me anymore." But it looks to me as if he's paying that money there when he wouldn't pay it for players. So where's the mentality on that?
Does it say also, same follow-up question, Philip, does it say a lot about maybe the fact that we've continued to hire different managers, like Kuva was saying, with different styles, different philosophies?
Yeah.
And I guess every time we just thought they were going to wave the magic wand, but God forbid, that we invest, in the squad in order to maybe make those managers successful.
Square pegs into round holes, really. You bring in a manager with a team that's there. They're not his type of players. As Mourinho, it worked out for Mourinho, Nuno was the 38th choice, so he was never going to be a success, really, when you think about it, I mean, good Lord, this could have been all avoided if Conte had said yes in June and July there when we were trying to get him. And I don't buy that excuse that he gave that he was still raw after leaving Inter. He left Inter on his own accord. He wasn't sacked. So I don't know. I'll tell you, there's a book to be written somewhere. If somebody just get the inside track on Mourinho, on Mourinho's sacking, on Poch's sacking, even go back as far as ABB. What happened there? Because it's a trend. They all got big bucks for literally not doing what they were paid to do.
maybe just one of those NDAs will eventually expire, Philip, that you're speaking about, and then that book will be released.
Well, the thing about it is, knowing Levy probably put a 50-year embargo on them or something. We'll all be dead before the flipping things are expired. So
he counts lifespans
as I said
into it.
before, if he doesn't get it right this time, this is crunch. This one really is crunch. If Conte walks on this one, then we are in bother big time.
Well said, Philip, and Kuva as well. Honestly, for both of you, again, fantastic job on that. Aaron Dub here saying a $5 sent to Brian Daigle, a get well soon card. Listen, he's actually quite close to me in Toronto, so I'll head on over to the Hallmark store and I'll get him a nice one. Maybe if a certain I know his birthday actually was a while ago, actually, if I'm not mistaken. So I don't think I can send him a birthday card, but maybe I'll just send him whatever Levy themed, card I can find in a Hallmark, Walgreens or in a CVS. I'll definitely find one. Maybe something like a get well soon, but you did a great job, sticking it to someone else kind of card, something like that, or great job on all the revolutionary work. I'll find something, Aaron Dubb, but big yourself up. David, anything to say to Aaron?
No, look, 100%. Brian, he's just a bit under the weather right now. And look, if Brian is tuning in, I hope you get well soon, my man. I hope you get well soon. Big up, Aaron Dove. Big up, checking in on his mate. Big yourself up, Aaron Dove.
Daigle is the Roy Keane of the Spurs supporters. He gets my armband. This one's for him. Hope he feels great as soon as possible. Cheers. Big yourself up, True Sets Free. Honestly, really appreciate that, as well as Aaron Depp. I think he really is actually quite under the weather, because he tried to call me last night, but I was actually in the middle of rubbing in a lot of stuff into some raw chicken, so I did not want to touch my phone, so I didn't answer it. But I will be able to touch it. I'll be able to catch up with him probably tomorrow if he's feeling a lot better. But he is definitely a Roy Keane of the Spurs supporters, especially when it comes to sticking it to Daniel Levy. That man is a Roy Keane and almost a Graham Roberts combined, sending him into the sidelines, sending him into the advertisement board probably. But True Sets Free, really big yourself up, and I would say gets everybody's armband. Big
up the Truth Sets You Free, my man. Really appreciate the support, brother. Big yourself up, my man.
Moving on, though, to David, to get David's thoughts on this, on managerial sackings, Dave. Spurs have spent more than any other club. Now you can add it to the trophy cabinet when it comes to that. $85.9 million total in fees. What does this tell you about either the financial mismanagement? What does this tell you about maybe the fact that we've continued to ask managers to do different things? What does this tell you? What does this tell you?
I'll be honest with you, it just infuriates me, to be honest with you, because, look, you think out of players we missed out on because we won't stretch to the wages, we won't stretch that extra $5 million in the transfer market. Diabala, we missed out because of a few intricate stuff. It just pisses you off. It's pure financial mismanagement. At the end of the day, I think it's 24, 25 managers in the Premier League era. I think we've had. And we're paying $85.9 million in fees to sack them, in payoffs and severances. It's absolutely ridiculous. Put that money on the field. If you would have put that money on the field and back these managers, you wouldn't see such a high fee there. You wouldn't see such a high turnover of managers at the club. You wouldn't see us in the position we're in now if that money was invested on the field. Instead, it just goes back to, and it just shows up the business model. It's everything's about making money. Everything's about business, and it's not a trophy winning model. There's no trophy winning model at all. What they want to do is make top four at the cheapest, as cheap as they can, and just keep the influx of that Champions League revenue coming up. The higher up in the Premier League, the more revenue you have coming in and stuff like that. But it's not a trophy winning model. And look, it just pisses me off. It's just sheer mismanagement.
Yep.
And again, it just goes to show how stingy and how cheap it's been, to be honest with you. That's all it shows. It shows nothing else but that, because we shouldn't be having 24, 25 managers in the Premier League era. Not if you've backed them. Like, we had Pochettino for 5 of them years. We had Martignol for a few of them years. You know what I mean? So all these other managers in between, it's absolutely shocking. You know what I mean? Like, they brought in that guy who couldn't even speak English that time. Why are you bringing in a guy that can't speak English and that players don't want in the first place? What's his name? Santini, I think it is. You know what I mean? It's just things like that. It's kind of like, it's just pure mismanagement. Like I said, you put that money into the wages that some of these players are asking for, that they're saying they can't afford. Put the money into transfer fees and back the manager instead of sacking them. You know what I mean? You'd see better results on the pitch, and you'd probably see a better Tottenham Hotspur.
Yeah, I mean, it probably does piss you off. It's probably the first reaction to the core, David. But what do you even make, as Philip was touching on, even size of those payouts, as well? Considering that some of these managers actually made more by being sacked than they would have actually, staying out their entire contract.
Yeah, it's just an absolute joke, to be honest with you. It's just an absolute joke.
It's almost, I wish I had that incentive, as Philip was saying, if I had the incentive where I'd be actually being paid more for being fired, I'd actually probably find everything in your ability to get fired.
Do you know what it is? I truly believe some of the high severance and some of the high packages, it's just purely to stop them from coming out in the press, going to the likes of TalkSport, going to the likes of Sky Sports and clearing their name. Obviously, look, I'll be honest with you. I think a lot of people that surround football that are in doing the press conferences, getting to ask the questions, journalists, people in and around the club, players, managers alike, I think they're all under NDAs, to be honest with you. I think they all are. And for me, I think the sheer size of the money that they're paying out, yeah, obviously you have to take into context, some of the lengths of the contracts that they have left and something like that. That will obviously boost it up a little. But I do think there's a nice chunk of change on top to kind of like, look, hush, go quiet, go on a 6-month holiday or take another job, and just don't say anything about what's going on here. Because I'll be honest with you, look, you hear Harry Redknapp coming out years and years later talking about how cheap Levy was. He's asking for these players. He asked, I think it was for Carlos Tevez and someone else, and they brought him in Ryan Nelson, and I think it was a crocked Louis Saha. You know what I mean? And at that time, we were going well. So I think over the years, I'll be surprised, Jack, as we get older, I think you'll hear more and more managers from, that we've seen lately come out, and you'll hear the same thing being repeated and being repeated and being repeated.
Definitely. Well said, honestly, all of you. Just want to wish Old Soul a good night. Hopefully he's keeping well and also rest well. Maybe you do have a bit of cobbler or something in the morning or something like that, to eat up, because I know that guy eats better than anybody else in the Harris Army, David, and he's been deprived. So he has to eat like us, these days, which I will say for me is, $2, pot noodle and, a bit of hard boiled eggs. So hopefully, he can eat a bit better in the future. But Tottenham Tantrum saying, for what I've been told, Jose sacking that was more than meets the eye. Hopefully you feel better, Brian. Philip, I will do my digging for all of you legends. I think maybe he's doing his digging on, some of the managerial sacking fees and whatnot. And honestly, I will say the non-disclosure agreement theory is actually quite hilarious because it kind of makes sense. It really does make sense, to a degree. Yeah, Philip, you want to touch on it? Maybe we can just, wrap up on it.
A couple of the players, Kieran Trippier is probably the most recent one. He intimated without actually saying anything that the trouble at Mill at Tottenham in the background. There was things going on in the club that he didn't like, and I'd say they are still there, but we just don't know what they are, what the level of them are, and probably never will. Well, in years, in the forthcoming 5 or 6 years, we probably won't hear about it. But there is something wrong there, and maybe Conte is the guy to go in. Like, I wouldn't say Nuno, for all his statuesque appearance, wasn't the guy to go in and sort out that club. He never was going to do it. Mourinho was never going to do it. If anyone's going to do it, I think it's our man that's there at the minute, because I'll tell you, I would not like to get on the wrong side of him. I'll tell you, you'd only do it once.
That's for sure. That is for sure. 100%. You'll only do it once because you won't have a second chance because you'll be gone, or else you'll be his teammate.
No, definitely so. But Dermot, just want to big you up, my man, and also let us know what you find. Let us know what you find. It probably is not the nicest thing, especially what Philip has even uncovered tonight. Definitely might be something that might kind of rock us to the core. But Aaron Dupp saying a $5 for to get Philip a flat cap.
Thanks, Aaron. I have one, but we moved house recently, and God knows I've actually lost my car keys as well. So I've a lot of things this week. But flat cap is one of them.
Well, it'd be probably easier to replace the flat cap than maybe the car keys, but maybe they're all in the same place. Maybe they're both in the same place, Philip. Maybe
it could well be.
Sometimes we use something like that. Maybe you use the flat cap accidentally one day as a place to hold the keys. Kind of like that little spot by the front door entrance. But Aaron Dupp, big yourself up, and also thank you for the support, my man. Thank you for the support. And also everybody in the comments has been enjoying this one. They really have. But we are going to move on to now. I think we're going to kind of wind it down to something that I'm really going to enjoy here. But does anybody have maybe any final thoughts?
Yeah.
Maybe just before on Daniel Levy. Sorry, I'm not looking at my screen. There you are.
Kuba has his whole summary written out.
No, I'll try and be quick. I don't want to.
No. Take it down.
No, don't be quick. We want to hear what you have to say.
I was going to say, David, you'd actually, well, you wouldn't be shocked, but it's more managers than you're saying. It's 30.
I think it's 30, including the interim managers, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. Well, stand corrected you. I think you might be right, but it's still a shocking figure.
Yeah, it's all over the place.
Because how long have they been in charge again? Is it
since
is that one per season?
90? No, where we go?
20 years, 21 years now. I think Enoch have been in charge, but the Premier League has been going since I think 93, 94, 92. Is it?
93. But just one thing. That means that between 1958 and the start of the Premiership era, which is 34 years, we had 6 managers. Because I'm only 36 manager at the moment.
There was the one last thing I was going to say before we're moving on was you know how Brian Daigle has always said about the moment he turned against Levy was when Martin Jol got sacked at half time. And a lot of people really angry about that. I was too. For me, it was actually before that. When Enoch took over, they made the big PR stunt of sacking George Graham. He had just won a trophy, but of course he wasn't popular with Spurs fans because he's Arsenal. But the fact is, he had just won something for us. So the big PR stunt was to get Hoddle in. And then the usual one, and see if you spot this, Levy saying about it's not the Spurs way of playing. It's not the Spurs style. So get Hoddle in, because of course everybody knows what Hoddle's all about. Not on his management style, though, so much, is it? But then after getting rid of Hoddle, he brings in Jacques Santini, one of the most defensively minded managers of all time. And then I just thought, Levy, you said it was about the football. You are one lying little toad. I just knew where we're heading then.
Yeah.
And if I just want to say, if anyone does actually want to check out what went on with Martin Jol sacking, we at Tottenham TV had him on an interview a while ago. I think there's 2 parts to it. And he was talking about the sacking and talking about Kamoli, who was Levy's man and stuff like that, and about him being down in and around the dressing room, interfering with things at half-time and everything else. So it was very eye-opening as well. And one thing I did like, actually, just quickly, is he was saying, like, players that he bought through at Ajax, you know, when he was there at the time managing. You're talking Jan Vertonghen, Toby Alderweireld, Moussa Dembele, and a lot of others. Christian Eriksen, who eventually became Spurs players and formed the nucleus of the squad under Pochettino. So, you know, it's very interesting. But do get over there and check it out if you want to kind of find out more about that situation.
There you are. Also well covered by everybody, honestly, from Levy to the managerial sackings. We got through it all. You know, we were able to swallow our breath and get through it all, hold our breath and get through it all. But we are going to move on to maybe a bit of greener pastures. Now, maybe something kind of, a bit of, nice things to kind of finish on, if you might say. It is going to involve Christian Romero. Maybe a bit of a stats moment here, everybody. This is official. Christian Romero has the most tackles and interceptions combined per 90, the most tackles per 90, the most successful pressures per 90 of any central defender in the Premier League, as well as Europe's top 5 leagues. Is Romero, to you, David, I'm going to go to you first. Is Romero one of the best center backs in world football? And is he also one of the most criminally underrated by other fans in world football? Basically, is Christian Romero maybe the 5th coming of Christ himself as a center back?
Look, I think he is the best centre back in world football right now. Look, the stats show it, Jack. You know what I mean? Most interactions per 90, most tackles 1 per 90 and stuff like that. The guy's an absolute assassin. He's absolutely brilliant on the ball as well. You see players, there was one stage someone pressed him, he just flicked it over his foot and ran on with the ball. He's very comfortable on the ball. He can get himself out of pressured situations. I think the guy is an all-round, modern day defender. I think he's absolutely brilliant. Honestly, the guy is, 23? I think nearly turning 24. And, his best years are still ahead of him. I said a quote on our Tottenham TV only a couple of weeks ago, actually, and a lot of people laughed at me. But I said Romero is better than what Virgil van Dijk was at this age, and he will be better than Virgil van Dijk. And I truly believe it. You know, the stats are already there. He's already outperforming Virgil van Dijk already. You know, a lot of people may think some of my football opinions are crazy and stuff like that. What I like to say is maybe I see things a bit quicker than most. But look, the stats have come in. It's backed me up. You know, and I think I'm the one laughing now. Look, this guy was an unbelievable signing. You know, and look, we only have, Don, Godfather, Second Coming of Christ, Jesus, God, Paratici to thank for this. He wouldn't have came under Nuno without Paratici at the helm to get this guy in. And look, this guy is a man that we can build our defence around, you know what I mean? And really have him here and get another one or two in beside him and have this defence solid for 3, 4, 5 seasons to come. And you can build on that. I have no doubt Conte probably already, he has the perfect replacements in his mind to be able to complement him. Look, we have to take note as well. He has these stats while playing beside Sanchez, Dyer, and Davies so far this season. Now, that's where he has these stats and the players he's playing beside. Now, anyone that wants to tell me this guy isn't world class, I'm not entertaining that whatsoever. You look at who Virgil van Dijk and other defenders have beside him compared to this guy. This guy is unbelievable, and he will be better than Virgil van Dijk. Just remember I said it.
Wow, there you are, everybody. And let me just reconfirm this again. You can check fbref.com, which is something I use repeatedly all the time. You can also just check Twitter because I think it was released out on Twitter. But Christian Romero, again, everybody, most tackles and interceptions combined per 90, most tackles per 90, and most successful pressures per 90 of any center back in Europe's top 5 leagues as well as the Premier League. So the guy is basically leading in every metric that you want your center back to lead in. To you, Kuva, I mean, Christian Romero, what are your thoughts on him? Has he actually been kind of criminally underrated by maybe other football fans outside of Spurs? You know, is he maybe more of a all-star signing kind of than maybe you ever anticipated?
So much that's right, well, that David said there. I don't think necessarily you could quite do the comparison with Van Dijk, though, because they are a bit different. But he's in terms of what he does, he is right up there with the very best. And the great thing is he's going to get better, especially now with Conte in charge. Now, what I think you always need to do with players is the first thing, it's the eye test. Does he look like he's playing well? Romero, check. He skips past tackles, shrugs off players like they're not there. He anticipates. He gets stuck in. You can see him winning the ball, and you're cheering it. You're thinking, that is aggressive play. I love it. He's going to get himself sent off occasionally. That's just goes with the territory, unfortunately. But it's a risk-reward strategy. It's like playing the high line. You get more out of it by doing it than you do by just saying, you know, calm down. He's never going to do that. Play as he is. I love it that way. But yeah, first the eye test, he passes it. Second, then you look at the stats,
right,
and it backs up exactly what we're saying. He is right up there. This bloke's dynamite. If we get a left-sided centre back and pretend Dyer doesn't exist as well, we'll be in good stead for next season.
I think even earlier on the watch along, Kuva, you were saying to me that alongside, you know, the likes of Graham Roberts or something, like he would actually even be able to make it. And, you know, kind of the earlier days when things were a bit nastier, when things were a bit harder, when, you know, strikers were more physical with you, you know, and whatnot, when the game was just basically a lot tougher and more kind of, you know, kind of a maybe hard-nosed kind of league. Would you say that Christian Romero would have made it back then even as well? He can play across all generations.
He's rugged. He reads the game. He's got talent. He can progress with the ball. He doesn't have to rely on the pass, but he can pass it. He's got everything. He really has got everything. He would have easily fitted into teams of days gone past. I mean, you could even look at Super Spurs and say, you know, as great as they were, a player like that is going to stand out any era. I mean, because he's just brilliant at what he does.
Could he play alongside of Roberts for you?
He could play instead of Roberts if it's central defence.
Whoa.
Different sort of player. Roberts I'd look to for the leadership qualities and the setting the tone of the match and really, well, basically kicking the shit out of the opponents for a little bit.
Romero's not afraid to do that, though, either.
Romero's a little bit more subtle, though at times not much. But, different sort of player. Romero's just one quality player.
I just want to say to Tete Bangura, look, I'm the one that's laughing, my man, because I don't make the stats. Romero does. It's not my fault. He's the best centre-back in the Premier League right now. So before you come in here trying to make a joke, I suggest you go off and do your research, because if you don't, you end up looking like a tit like this. So big yourself up.
And also maybe hit that big red button as well, to maybe not miss any more Romero stats. But Philip, what about you? I mean, Christian Romero, have you fell in love with the guy already? What about him that maybe makes you like him so much? Maybe I'm just going to assume that you like him so much, but what about him, that you like? What about Romero do you like?
Romero is the signing of the season, bar none, right? And the fact, but you unless you're a Spurs fan, you don't know that, because if he had signed for Liverpool, City, United, Chelsea, Sky Sports would be doing specials about him. It's a mention. I turn the volume down when Sky Sports are on, because I just don't want to listen to the garbage they come out with about Spurs. Well, the likes of Jamie Redknapp and Gary Neville and all these guys, I don't think they even know Romero plays for Spurs. That's how under the radar he's gone. Now, they obviously don't read the stats, because either if they do, they're ignoring. He is okay. He's a bit of a loose cannon at times. He will get sent off. He will cause us heartache. But I saw a clip from him there the other night playing for Argentina. I don't know if you've seen that. He got the ball in the centre circle with two Colombian guys in front of him. He flicked it over their heads and ran around them. For a centre half to do that in an international match, he does take chances, and that's why I love the guy. He's a good ball player. He brings it out well. He'll get his fair share of goals too. I think everything's get started. I mean, he had a goal disallowed there against United, was it? Or was it?
Yeah.
Everton.
Oh, the one against United, Davies took off his head.
Yeah, Davies took away from him.
Oh, right, okay.
And he got the offsides one as well.
He's he's a different type of player to Virgil van Dijk, but let's face it, the media is so far up Virgil van Dijk's arse. I was wondering if he has time to, he just has time to extract them all for each game before the game he plays. It's just ridiculous. I know he's a good player. He's not that good, But no,
he's not as good as Romero. No,
Romero is real South American gangster would be the best way I'd describe his attitude, everything. He's mean, he's tough, he doesn't give a shit, and if you go past him, you'll have the bruises to prove it later on.
I also kind of agree with that, Philip, where that's kind of where the criminally underrated kind of thing came from. I don't think he's criminally underrated by Spurs fans. I feel like he's just criminally underrated by outside fans.
How do you know about him?
Yeah, exactly. Just because he, like you said, just because he doesn't play for a Liverpool or Man United or something like that is the only reason no one ever talks about him. Faz Radfar saying, if you could only sell one of Sanchez, Dyer, which one? I think we'll get one-word answers from everybody here. I'm going to go Sanchez just because I don't believe Eric Dyer qualifies even for the homegrown, kind of quota. So I think that's what makes Eric Dyer, even no offense to him, even more useless. So I will say I think I would keep Sanchez. But Kuva, what do you say?
I don't care if they both fall down a well, to be honest. Sanchez, get rid of Sanchez, maybe. I mean, he's got technical abilities and things, but he just hasn't got the heart for it. He hasn't got the drive for it. I mean, Mourinho had spotted this as early. That was an early on thing with him as well. No, he's just not going to make it.
It's like picking between moldy bread, I guess, between the two. Philip, for you, Sanchez or Dyer?
I'll get rid of the player whose name sums up most of the performances. That one out.
Definitely. David, for you?
Look, just out of process elimination, the sheer amount we spent on Sanchez, I'd rather Sanchez go. Look, with Dyer, we only brought him in for, I think it was like 3.5 million. So, you know what I mean? In terms of money we spent on the players, I just don't think Sanchez. Look, I don't think Dyer's been anywhere near a good enough fighter, but Sanchez definitely has it for the money spent on him. So due to that, what we spent on him, I would go with Sanchez out the door first. And plus, just a lot of managers, I don't know what it is, but they seem to have a stiffy for Dyer. So
Yeah, seems to be so.
Yeah.
Seems to be so. Might as well just get rid of that spiffy from them. But we are going to move on now, everybody, to someone else that I think maybe deserves a bit of respect. Someone else that I think maybe has a bit of respect that needs to be put on his name, everybody. It is going to be Emerson Royale. Emerson Royale has also, this is compared to any fullback in the Premier League, most tackles per 90, most successful pressures per 90, most tackles and interceptions combined of any fullback in the Premier League. Has Emerson been underrated by Spurs fans in this case? We all knew that Romero is somebody that all Spurs fans definitely love and admire. But what about you, Kuva? Has Emerson been underrated, do you feel like, by Spurs fans? Maybe just hasn't. Maybe to the seeing eye test, for some he's failed. But to me, I think he's actually been fantastic in my seeing eye test. But what do you say? Emerson Royale, has he been a bit underrated?
Well, this is probably one of the most interesting discussions of the lot, because wing backs, you get polarized views of what their ability is.
Yeah.
You get somebody who's brilliant at bombing forward and crossing the ball, and people rave about them. I hate to mention this player's name, but years back, Ashley Cole playing for England.
Mm-hmm.
I remember him having one absolutely barnstormer of a match. He was brilliant at the heart of all our attacking moves. I think it was Rodney Marsh in the studio at the time saying, that's like the complete wing-back performance. That's one of the greatest I've ever seen in my life. And then I'm thinking, yeah, he did really well. The next day I wake up, read the paper, and it's like, Ashley Cole stinker. I'm thinking, what? What am I reading here? And it depends if you're looking at how good they are at attacking or how good they are at defending.
Right.
And you can get wildly contrasting view of the player. This is the point with Emerson. Now, you look at his defensive stats, they're really good. His tackling is great. He's very quick to the ball. He closes down people quickly. He's very good at pressing. And he's very quick. And I said the other night that he could develop into one of the best wing backs in the league. And I meant that. The trouble is, he's not there yet. Going forward, he's, very, very disappointing, to say the least. Can't seem to cross the ball properly. And the thing that gets overlooked all the time is his general distribution is poor. He gets pressed just as much as he presses other people. His passing stats are really poor. It backs up what I'm seeing with his attacking play, how we build from the back. I mean, this is part of the reason we're so poor in the final third, is because it doesn't get there. We've got players on both flanks who can't, at the moment, do the role properly. And we've got nothing coming through the middle except for Lucas Moura going on a run with his nose to the grass. There's, he can sprint with it, but nothing comes at the end of it. So we're predictable. Against Everton, both wing backs were targeted and pressed by Everton. I was thinking, yeah, that's what I would do. That's where you're going to get the mistakes. The centre backs can't interact with them very well. On Emerson's side, he's lucky because he's got Romero there backing him up. Over on the other side, Ben Davis.
Poor Reggie.
Oh, let's not even go there at the moment. I've got enough to think of at the moment. It's just not having. Reggie's terribly off form, but we're sticking on Emerson at the moment. So I think the answer to the question is he's both underrated by some and overrated by others. The truth is he's somewhere in the middle. He's doing okay, but he needs to improve. He really needs to up his game, because if he carries on just being defensive, he's not going to be fitting the role we need.
Interesting. Actually, good, maybe level-headed answer. Maybe as a follow-up, Kuvet, if you had to pick, because I guess we could think of Reggie at his best is, very good going forward when he is at his best. If you had to pick between the two, one gets stuck in for a living, the other one is actually quite good going forward. Which one would you rather have if you had to pick between the two? If, someone that's good going forward or someone, that's good defensively?
Reguilon, attack all the way. I've advocated building from the back, but I'm actually really attack-minded with how I like the football played. And attacking wing backs is a lovely thing when they're working. So you've got to have somebody with pace who can swing in a brilliant cross, you can forgive them a lot of the defensive frailty when they've got players covering them. If you've got someone like a Barella or something in midfield going nuts, just covering the all the sloppiness on the wings, missed tackles and swift counter attacks, you just got license to get forward. It's at the moment. And take the Everton game. You see Lucas Moura and Sonny. They're having to come back to help cover those wing positions because we're getting overloaded there. That leaves Kane exposed by himself. He can't press two centre backs and a goalkeeper by himself. And then people will say, "Oh, he's not running. He's not pressing." What would be the point in trying to press all those players by himself? Then there's nothing happens when we do leap forward. Then the other team's going to get back as quickly as we get forward. Our passing's all over the place. Emerson's part of that problem, but he's also the part of the reason why we're starting to look more defensively sound as well. So it's a difficult one. Yeah.
It's definitely, I think that's a very level-headed answer, Kuva. Sean Snow saying the player who goes is who Conte says. I think that's the answer to Faz Radfar's earlier. There it is. I think that's also a very level-headed answer there, Sean. David, to you. Is Emerson criminally underrated by Spurs fans?
Well, I mean, we could just bring back Aurier in and put Doherty in if we want. Look, at the end of the day, we can't forget how bad they were. The mistakes they were causing, the amount of goals that were coming down that side. At the end of the day, we want someone on the right-hand side who can defend first and foremost. And at the end of the day, this guy is doing it. Look, you can only judge on Emerson on what we've had before. And he's a lot more solid defensively. Look, we know with Aurier and Doherty, we were always just waiting for a mistake to happen. So were other teams. Emerson is solid defensively. You're going to see teams eventually stop going down Romero and Emerson's side because they know there's just no way of getting down there. Look, going forward, you can work on him. Kyle Walker wasn't the best going forward when we brought him in and started playing him, but he developed his game. It was worked on. You're going to do that with Emerson. At the end of the day, look, this guy's here only a couple of months. He's only here a couple of months. And for me, I actually think, I think this guy will do just fine at Tottenham Hotspur. I really do. He shored us up defensively, especially down that side. Going forward, it will come. Putting better crosses in the box, it'll come. Maybe finishing that header that he had that the week, that'll come. You look with Batiste. He loved going forward, and he was very good for them going forward. He will replicate that in a Tottenham jersey. It's just going to take a couple of months. Look, 100%, I fully get what Kuv was saying. But for me, he's a lot better than Doherty. He's a lot better than Aurier, and it's just going to take time. Not all signings that we're going to bring in are going to hit the ground running like a Romero. Some of them will take a couple of months to bed in. But one thing I will say is, look, I really rate this guy. This is a guy that Barcelona didn't really want to sell, but they were forced to sell him. They didn't want to sell him. Now you're seeing them bringing in Dani Alves on a contract because, they have no one down that side. But this guy would have been playing for Barcelona if we didn't sign him. So for me, I think he's a good sign. I think, look, I just say stick with it. At the end of the day, it could be a hell of a lot worse. Could have Aurier, or we could have Doherty or anybody else still playing there. I just think this guy will be a good player with time to come. I really do. I think come the end of the season, people will be talking a lot about this guy.
Philip, what are your thoughts on Emerson so far this season? Underrated, maybe rated? What are your impressions of him so far?
I've no doubt he will become an extremely good player and a valuable member of the squad. I just think, like as David said, he's only with us 5 minutes. And he's gone from adapting from a totally different style of play in Spain to come to the Premiership. He's far quicker and far more intense. He's made a few mistakes. To be honest, I'd like to see him in a battle with Tanganga for the right back position at the moment this season. Because I think Tanganga and himself can inspire each other to do better, if you know what I'm coming from. Mm-hmm. And I think he's a good player. He will be an excellent player. I just think he's just taken a little bit longer to bed in than Romero has. Mm-hmm. Romero's hit the ground running. I think Emerson has quite done that. But that being said, he will be good. Like you made a good point there with Kyle Walker. It took a while to get him. It took a while to get him into doing the job that he did then so successfully for us. Mm-hmm. Some people adapt quicker than others. So I think we've got to give him a time to bed in. And he will be good. He will be. He's got, as you said, you don't get to play for Barcelona unless you've got something in your locker.
Maybe so.
Just give him time; he'll be good.
And the thing is,
Dave.
Sorry, just quickly, Jack. What Kyle Walker used to do with Tottenham, and why he was different to Trippier was because Kyle Walker used to get to the byline. Trippier didn't. Trippier was always kind of looking to cross the ball from a bit of a deeper position. What do you see Emerson doing?
Yeah.
Getting down to the byline. So there is similarities there, and it's just going to take time. Look, Spurs fans, and I've seen them slated over social media and stuff like that. Emerson, I'll be honest, I don't get it. The guy's better than Doherty. He's better than Aurier. Give him time to settle in. Okay, he's not assisting goals and everything else like you expect from your modern day fullback. But he showed us up defensively, which was a massive, massive problem last season. We're not scoring goals, but imagine if we were still conceding goals right now. You know what I mean? He's been a part of that defense that's starting to shore up alongside Romero. So just give him time.
Same question that I asked you about earlier. Sorry, Philip. Yeah.
I was just going to say, we have a lot of fans who unfortunately are looking for the quick fix, and they're looking for the instant response and everything to go perfectly from minute one. It doesn't work that way. So I think we've got to just be a bit patient and show the guys some respect for coming into a completely new way of life for them. Different country, different way of living even than Spain. So give him time. He will be good. And as you say, he's got pace. Maybe, okay, not as quick as Kyle Walker, but then again, who isn't? Who is as quick as Kyle Walker? Nobody. He's got the pace, and he gets to the byline, he will cause problems.
Same question I asked Kuva earlier, Philip. If you had to pick between the two, would you rather have, that wing back be defensively solid, maybe like Emerson? Would you rather him be, a bit, better going forward, a bit more competent going forward, a bit more stylistic going forward, like someone like Reguilon?
We're stylistic. We're going forward.
There it is. Maybe the old school Spurs fans, what they want.
To play the game with style. We don't want to play the game defensively. That's not our way. We go for the jugular. We go forward. To do is to dare to whatever. What I mean? No. I'd like to see the attacking side of it.
There's a reason why they both agree with each other there. A bit of the wiser heads of the building. Tottenham Tantrum saying, great show, great panel. Please, everyone, hit that like button and that sub button. They really deserve to get to the 5,000. They're the nicest guys on YouTube with the brilliant shows from all of you. Thank you both. Come on, you Harris Army. Come on, you Flat Cap Army. Dermot, honestly, brother, you really didn't need to do this, but I do appreciate you trying to help us get to the 5,000. It seems, maybe... I think it's still possible, but, like a lot of things, David and I are a bit hopeless romantics. We're a bit hopelessly optimistic, but we do think we're going to get there. But we really do appreciate it. And Dermot, like I said before, it was an absolute blast going on earlier with Tottenham Tantrum there, kind of going over the glory days, going over the old days. But just now when I think about the watch along that I just watched earlier, kind of see where Kuba and Philip are coming from when it comes to maybe wanting that more attacking fullback. So I do kind of see it. But Dermot, just want to say, brother, really appreciate it. Really appreciate it. Big one as well. And also thank you very much for being one of the OGs of this channel, one of the OGs of the support group of this channel. Big yourself up, my man. David, anything to say to Dermot?
Yeah, man, thank you so much. What an absolute legend. He's always been a good supporter to us. He's always been very good to us. We do speak to each other and that as well. So look, big up Dermot, my man. And look, best of luck with your channel, my man, as well. Hopefully it really takes off for you, And look, in terms of the 5,000, I really appreciate it. We are 162 off. 162 in what? A matter of 7-8 days. Let's see what we can do. We might not make it, but look, we'll see what happens, Dermot. But big yourself up. If we do, we only have people like you and everyone else who tunes in to thank my man. So big yourself up, Dermot. Really appreciate it.
And Truth Sets Free, really, though, big yourself up, Dermot. Exactly. One of the main reasons we've even gotten there. We're even close to it. But Truth Sets Free says we deserve a boss soundtrack for this new era. It's actually, we'll say, though, there is a new countdown kind of tune that's coming in that will be that boss soundtrack before we go into every game. It's not going to be the same one that you've heard before in terms of the countdown into the videos. It's going to be something that, winners, get, Dave. It's going to be something that winners listen to before they go into matches.
Honestly, do you know what? I'm going to risk it for the chocolate biscuit. I am going to bring it out for the Leeds game. If I get a copy strike, I'll have to come up with something else. But we'll wait and see. Honestly, This one will get you absolutely pumped up. It's for games only. It's a special. Honestly, you're going to be absolutely wrecking keyboards, smashing computers. You're going to be that hyped off this one. Look, I am known as the hype man. I probably would say I'm probably the best in the business, and it's only going to get better from here on out. Wait until you see it. You're going to be sitting there. You're just going to want to start running through walls. You know what I mean? Some of you will probably take off your clothes, run down the high street naked. This song is going to do it to you. Trust me. It's going to be an absolute banger.
Love that. True Sets Free. And also, there you are. Yeah, Kuva, sorry.
I was going to say, is David cracking out the Chaz and Dave again?
No, it's just me. It's my audition tape for X Factor, Kuva.
It's going to be his audition.
And trust me, Kuva, I think you'll enjoy it, lad. You'd probably whip out your guitar or your little drum set there and you'd probably start playing along to it.
Oh, I'm doubtful, mate. I like some seriously heavy music.
Oh, yeah, the pots of pans and yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the sort of stuff I like. If we played that as the intro music, nobody would see your face again. It would just be the bottoms of your shoes on the end of the desk there. You'd have a stroke.
Let's talk after the show, though, Kuva. We actually might have something in common there because I'm kind of a bit of that guy as well. But Big Yourself Up, True Sets Free will be that banger. It will be that boss soundtrack you're looking for. But I mean that, though, Kuva. We'll talk. We'll see what you're listening to, what I listen to. But JC says, this was a great stream, boys. Enjoyable, informative, and the panel are top-notch. Keep up the good work. JC, you can always rely on the panel, even if it's not maybe – let's say, the most informative, because sometimes we do have some certain shows that aren't as educational as others, but you could definitely rely on the panel always being top notch. You can always rely on it being top notch. It's definitely something we like to take pride in. And also, hopefully, we always keep it enjoyable and always entertaining, at least informative. That's something we also try to strive for. We can't do it every time, but I'm glad that, we were able to hit all of those notches for you. And also, Big Yourself Up, JC. Really appreciate the support.
Yeah, look, I just want to say quickly, look, it's the checklist checked off tonight. Absolutely delighted. It's the three things we base our shows around. We try to always bring across to people, and I'm glad we hit the nail on the head today. It means we're doing something right. Big up, JC.
Big up, JC. Absolute legend. True Sets Free saying, David, I'm clicking everything. Oh, you first. David, can we trade Doherty from Ireland to Great Britain?
Yeah.
You know what?
Yeah. I'll tell you what, Truth Sets Free. I liked you a minute ago.
that would be a lifetime punishment for you, Kuba. It'd be a lifetime punishment. David's undergone it as well. Everybody's got to get their fair share. Doherty, they got to get their fair share. He wouldn't make the team at least, so he wouldn't make the team.
Yeah, you just know he's going to be that player that drastically improves, though, don't you?
He's not. Trust me, he won't be. I don't think he will be.
That'd be a long shot. That's a long shot. But True Sets Free, I would not wish that on my worst enemy. I really wouldn't not wish that on my worst enemy. But Big Yourself Up, True Sets Free. Absolute legend. Last question of the evening, fellas. Before, and make it quick because I do want to, not hold you guys for too long. But, we kind of, it's something that David and I do kind of like to joke about over here. Does the form of Christian Romero and the form of Emerson Royale improve maybe your rating of our last transfer window? And also maybe as a follow-up, is Paratici the Don? Quickly, though, a lot of people did kind of say, and to a degree as well, I kind of see where they're coming from, did not rate this last window, but maybe bearing in mind what we just kind of spoke about with Christian Romero and maybe Emerson Royale, does it kind of improve your rating of our last transfer window? Then again, I don't know what your guys' rating was, but you don't have to give me a number, but maybe bearing in mind now that we have a bit of hindsight of this season, maybe it was a better window than previously thought. Kuva, I'm going to go to you first.
Well, hit, miss, and a couple of maybes. So he's not the Don yet, but he might be.
Unofficial Don title from Kuva. No, not Don certified. What do you say, Philip? Does it kind of improve maybe now that we have a bit of hindsight? Does this maybe improve? Just by the way, D-Check Kane would love to rate Nico Schlotterbeck, so big yourself up. But Philip, what's your previous rating of the transfer window? Has it improved maybe now that you've seen the likes of a Romero and such in action?
I was happy enough with it. Okay, we didn't get a backup striker. We didn't get a creative midfielder. But I was happy enough with the quality of the players that we got. probably thought Romero might take a little bit longer to bed in than he has. So I would say I'm marginally more pleased now than I was at the start of at the end of the transfer window. And yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. And Dom, I think we would never have attracted those players only for him. So I've got to give him let's just say he's the Don. And what's the word? What do you get before you're actually crowned king? You're the king in waiting, or you're the Don in waiting. I'd say after this transfer window is coming up in January, he will definitely be crowned Don. But I'd nearly give it to him at this stage.
What is that? Yeah, I'm trying to remember that. But while David is answering, Dave, pretty sure I know your answer. But has your original rating now that you have that hindsight, of how Christian Romero and Emerson Royale have performed so far this season, is maybe your original rating maybe improved? And also, I'm pretty sure I know the answer to this, but is Paratici get the Don title from you, the Don certificate?
Yeah, look, I always thought we had a decent enough window anyway. I think, look, Brian Gilmessi, I think he's a future star. Romero's come in, hit the ground running, best centre-back in the Premier League and in Europe's top 5 leagues. I know some people don't like it, but Romero makes the stats. Emerson, I think he's done a great job defensively, especially shoring us up. I think we will work on him going forward. I think you'll see a much more improvement. Galini, still have my doubts, but look, it's good cover for the season. You know what I mean? So, look, let's see what happens there. But all in all, yeah, I think I'd rate it a little bit higher, to be honest with you. Do I think he's a Don? Look, Don Jesus, God, Godfather, whatever, Prince, King, what I mean? My Lord, Savior, Jesus Christ. What I mean? Every name under the planet I want to give the guy, I'm going to give it to him because I think he's had a good window. I know some people out there don't like it, but what I mean? For me, I think he is. And I'll be honest with you, the more that people hate on this guy, the more nicknames I'm going to give him. And it's just going to keep annoying people till they really understand that this guy is here to help us. He's not here to harm us. I know a lot of people are dubious over it, this, that, and the other. I'll be honest with you, I think some people put their foot in it and they don't want to admit they were wrong. But this is the guy we can trust at Tottenham Hotspur. He's been given the money. He's already spent it shrewdly. We haven't even paid for Romero yet, and he's already the best defender in the world. You know what I mean? Like, come on. You have to give this guy the Don title. You have to call him everything, every good name. Actually, do you know what I'm going to do, Jack? When I'm finished, I'm going to go through the dictionary, and I'm going to find at least another 20 names to add to the title.
He'd certainly be like a king of kings where he has like 30,000 titles to his name, where it's like, back in the Habsburg Empire, I think, when they had 40 different titles of king and whatnot back then. That's what he is, Dave. But the truth sets free says, if another Dermot or McDermott shows up here, I'm going to grab my pants. David and Jack gets me. Honestly, there are too many. There are too many Dermots in the world. There are a lot of class Dermots, I will say, though. A lot of class ones, a lot of class human beings by the name of Dermots, but also then throw on the McDermott as well. Maybe a few too many, so maybe you guys just all have to battle it out. But big yourself up, Truce. That's free. Big yourself up, my man. And also, hopefully, you're keeping well, brother. And also, thank you for the continued support. Let me know if he's the Don to you, Truce. That's free. Let me know. I want to get his opinion on it. Ben Kaufman says, big up, lads, and all the panel. Ben Kaufman, big yourself up because you're an absolute legend yourself. Been loving out all of your cameos on every channel. Been loving, you on the fan shows. We're going to get you on here very, very soon as well, Ben. I love your realism. I love your intensity. I love also just your straightforward, no nonsense. He's like a no nonsense defender when it comes to some of his answers. But big yourself up, Ben Kaufman. David, anything to say to Ben?
Yeah, Ben, you're an absolute legend. I think you have great energy about you. When I'm over, I'll be visiting the coffee shop, my man. Look, it's a shame it's not in Amsterdam. It is in London, but I will be there. Big yourself up, Ben Kaufman. Absolutely appreciate it. And look, let's end off the Paratici segment with, can you smell what Paratici is cooking? Come on.
Cuba, do you want to say something there? I think I caught your hand. Nothing.
No, I always admire David's enthusiasm on stuff. I'm a little bit more reserved on this particular one. I will say, though, he's done more good than he has more sort of nondescript signings. I mean, signing Romero itself is a great move.
He's not hurting us, I guess, is what David said before. He's not hurting us at the end of the day. But, maybe, Paratici Paratici, if you are watching, all I can say is, yeah, your home is here. If you need to explain, some things to us, certainly, David and I would be happy to kiss both your cheeks. Certainly would be. We'd give you that Don greeting as well. Dave, we'll give him that Don Italian greeting as well to the channel.
We'll knight him.
We'll knight him of the Harris Army, certificate of the Harris Army. We are going to move on to extra time, everybody. Probably sometimes everybody's favorite time of the evening, where we do kind of give pretty short answers to it, where you don't even have to explain your answer if you don't want to. It's basically the nice and short, simple replies. And like always, everybody in the comments, I want to see your answers to these questions, 1 through 4, as always. But first one here, who would you rather keep, Ben Davies or Eric Dyer? This one pains me, because I really was slamming Ben Davies before before Conte came in. He was the first one I wanted out the door in January. But given that he is left-footed and I can't believe I'm saying this, but I might say Eric Dyer first, but nobody shoot me. Nobody shoot me, please. Honestly, I can't believe I'm saying it, but I'm going to go Eric Dyer first. I'm going to go just down the order here. Dave, your answer?
First of all, Dark Song G, we have another one. We have another
Ring him up.
here. We have Chris and Dark Song G. We're slowly exposing them, lad. No, but everybody, please do get your answers in the comments. This actually makes Jack's whole show. He sat here having to listen to me, Philip and Kuva crap on for the last 2.5 hours. So guys, please do make his day. He's been a brilliant host today. Get your answers in the comment section. A or B right now. Look, for me, it's always going to be Ben Davies.
There it is. Kuva, I know this is painful.
Oh, God.
I probably need to find a deeper well than you probably was thinking of, for Davinson Sanchez and Eric Dyer at the end of the day. You need to find probably an abyss.
Oh, my bad. Sorry, I read the question wrong. It's keep. Sorry, I'd rather keep Eric Dyer, not Ben Davies. My bad. I've been exposed. No, I'd rather keep Dyer. My bad.
Oh, so I actually said I'd rather keep Ben Davies. I actually said I'd rather keep Ben Davies.
This isn't. I'd rather keep the ketchup and the mayo.
You'd probably rather have them as defenders.
I just don't care. Get rid of either of them. I just don't care with those two. They're both useless.
I'm sorry, but I have a gun to your head right now, Kuva. You got to answer this one.
Keep Dyer.
Keep Dyer, he says. I'm, Dark Sunday, you can ring me up. Honestly, you can put me in punishment, put me in jail for my answer. You really can. Honestly, I'm letting you. It's just I'm thinking about what Conte is thinking about, and I trust Antonio Conte. But Philip, you have to keep Ben Davies or Eric Dyer. Who are you keeping?
Purely, solely down to the fact that he's a current international and scored a goal tonight for Wales, and I believe it was a beaut, is Ben Davies.
Wow, I could tell that was hard for you to say as well. But just quickly, Faz Ratbar saying, I agree, David. Paratici is a gem. Lucky to have him. He's getting the Don certificate from a lot of people. They're accumulating. They are accumulating. They are growing. But big yourself up, Faz. The truth sets free says, I grew up around a real Don family. So no, but apparently he's had real experiences with Dons. But there you are. Big yourself up, truth sets free. Big yourself up, my man. It's honestly a good joke that we have around this channel as well, because seems like we're the only ones that want to give him the title, maybe just because we like to be that way. But we're going on here to number 2. If you could only sign one this winter window, Brozovic or Kessié? This is a hard one as well. I'm going to go Brozovic because we need that holding midfielder more than we need that box-to-box midfielder at the moment. I think we need someone that can spray passes left and right, basically just control games, need that baller in the holding midfielder position, need that tempo setter, need that regista. I'm going Brozovic. David?
Brozovic all day long. Look, I do rate both. I think Kessie's a good player, but I'll be honest with you, I think Kessie offers a lot of what Højbjerg and Skip already offer us. For me, I'd be going with Brozovic. We need someone that can connect that defense to the midfield and the midfield to the attack. I think he's the guy to do it.
Kuba?
100% Brozovic for me. He can do everything we need. He's going to make defense better and the attack better. And Skip can learn so much from him.
That's a good shout out, actually. Definitely can. Philip, do you know maybe Brozovic or Kessié? If you're aware of either of them, which one would you rather have?
I go for Brozovic. Now, the only thing that worries me slightly about him, Brozovic is 4 years older than Kessié.
That's true. Not a signing for the future.
But, okay, at this stage, we need the guy that can, sit there and marshal things. So, yeah, Brozovic for me,
There you are. Actually, I kind of like that answer. A lot of people are going Brozovic. A lot of people in the comments are going Kessié, though, which I actually do appreciate. I do like myself a bit of Franck Kessié. True Stats Free said, neither. I'd rather play Arvind up top. There you go.
Aravind. So Aravind is the guy that goes on We Are Tottenham TV, if I'm correct.
But pick yourself up, True Stats Free. Seriously, I mean, it is kind of like, what Kuva said before, I'd probably rather just toss them both down a well. I would say you need something deeper than a well. You really would. But pick yourself up. Need to go back to Jack's Hero Talk player reviews before answering. Yeah, maybe do a bit of research before. But I'm going to go from the bottom up now, starting with Philip on this one, and then go up to the top. Is Gio Lo Celso overrated? Because this has come out, Philip. There's been a lot of kind of funny compilations of, Gio kind of, basically kind of looking like not a footballer, basically, in some of the compilations, looking a bit embarrassing. Do you feel like Gio Lo Celso has been overrated? Yes or no?
Oh, God. Yeah, probably yes, because he really hasn't delivered for us, really, except on rare occasions. He's certainly a lot more consistent for Argentina. Now, it has been said he's probably playing with a lot better players for Argentina. But, I would say purely on a Tottenham, from a Tottenham viewpoint, I would say he has, let's just say this is a make or break season for him. I don't think Conte will keep him if he doesn't produce the goods now for the rest of the season. So, yeah, I would say, unfortunately, I like the guy. I think he's probably, behind it all, is a very good footballer, but just hasn't shown it for us yet. So, yes, he is overrated.
Kuba.
Massively, massively overrated. I honestly thought we were going to be getting a world-class player. He looks so good in Spain. I thought, that's exactly what we need. Can put his foot on the ball, doesn't panic, can bring the full ball forward, can pick out other players. He can cover the ground between the boxes. I just thought he was going to be so good, and he's turned out to be, well, it's instead of that Rolls Royce, he's been a 1989 Ford Escort with rust.
I kind of agree with that, especially the Real Betis, kind of analysis there. I thought this was going to be one of the signings of the decade. I really did. And then just that's nowhere near lived up to those expectations.
I think one of the things that angers me so much about him, is angered the right word that I'm so disappointed with anyway, is it always looks like he's disinterested when things are going bad. But then he'll do a little something like against Everton, for example. Bang average game and then great shot out of nowhere. So you can see it's there. It's just why isn't he doing it?
Well said, actually.
When Messi says he loves playing alongside him, you've got to think, well, now there's something there, but it's just no, completely overrated because he does nothing.
Yeah, it seems like we're getting something like 50% or 25% of the Gio that maybe Messi is talking about. Feels like. David, overrated? Yes or no?
Yep, headless.
Yeah, I kind of feel that way. Do I say no or yes? I'm going to say yes, just because when I do kind of compare him to if I compare him to Tanguy and Dembele, I still think Tanguy is a much better player than him. So I will probably argue that he is overrated at the end of the day. It is kind of sad, though, to maybe slam down players like that at the end of the day with Gio, because I kind of like Kuba was saying, I feel like when we take ourselves back to the Real Betis days, we know that there was a player in there.
Oh, just a quick one. I just spotted something that King Hoddle said. He's not overrated. He's just not produced. I suppose, that is one way of looking at it. There's nothing. If you say he's crap, you're right. So it's not overrating him.
That's kind of, that's very fair. And also this is, with extra time, so I kind of like it. It's kind of controversial, hard to answer kind of questions. It's so short a time as well. But number 4 now, going from the bottom up again, starting with Philip. If you could only sign one player this winter window, who would you sign? Basically, Philip, you can answer with ridiculous, maybe a Haaland or something like that, or you could be realistic. I mean, if you could sign one player that's maybe on your mind right now, who would it be?
Vlahovic,
the backup striker.
Serbian guy playing for Fontaine. It's not that Harry Kane's going anywhere, but it'd just be nice to have another quality striker at the club, And he has intimated, there seems to be talk that he wants to come to Spurs. So, Why should disappoint the lad?
I did tell him to come home. His home is here with us. I speak to the itches. But
He's one
Kuva,
of the itches. We need an itch around Tottenham at the moment, you know.
yeah, we're definitely lacking one. I'll tell you that. You always need one itch. One itch.
I'll go for an itch as well then, Brozovic.
Just one thing.
Kuva,
I just want to read this out. This has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but I just find it so funny. Something happened today. You remember the team we played in the Cup last season?
Yeah.
Right. The floodlights went at their game today, right, during the match against Dunstan, wherever they are. There was nobody in the ground to fix it. The one of the Dunstan players is a midfielder. I'm an electrician, and he went out and fixed the floodlights. They went back and played the match.
That's class.
Does not really sum up what football's all about, you know?
He must have climbed did he climb the tower as well? He climbed the floodlights?
No, he was able to do it at the junction box outside. You know?
I'm
He's
stupid.
still in his kit out fixing the floodlights, you know?
Stupid.
Stuff.
Of course you can fix it from the ground. I don't know why I thought you had to fucking climb up an entire tower in order to fix it. Kuba went Brozovic. Took mine there. Yeah, but
Brozovic, because like I said in an earlier point, he covers both roles. Improves that defense, improves the attack by getting the distribution right from the back to start with. It's going to make other players around him look better just because he's so damn good. And you start at the back there with the quality of Romero and him. You're on the right track. It improves everything. But that's my sensible choice. Can I choose one for a different reason?
Yeah.
Vlahovic, good player and everything, but I would love us in some ways to sign him just because it will piss off Arsenal.
Certainly, especially if they're signing Jovic instead.
Apparently, his agent stopped taking phone calls from Arsenal. Yeah. So there's a bit of taste there, you know.
Wrong Serbia number, I guess. Apparently. David, to you, who's that one player that you wish you could sign?
Sorry, did you say it too, Jack? Okay, so the two players that I would like to sign. The first one, I'll be honest with you. Look, I don't think we can look beyond that midfield player, that deep line midfield player who can take the ball from defence and be able to get us through, transition through the different areas of the field. So for me, I'll be honest with your player. Two players I would really like, and I would be happy with one of them. He's either Sandro Tonali, who, Jack, you know, I'm always banging on about him. I really like the kid. I think he's brilliant with his passing.
He would be filthy.
Especially in that deep line role midfield. Or Bruno Gomes. That guy, I think, is absolutely unbelievable. He can ping it 50 yards over the top, or he can play it left or right, or just keep possession. I think he's very, very good. So for me, one of them. But Sven Botman as well, I think, would be massive, massive improvement. The guy's an absolute unit. He's an absolute animal. Guys, do get over and check out the Flat Cap Euro report. That's what I'm going to call it now. Euro report that we done on Sven Botman. Honestly, this guy has all the attributes right now to walk into the Premier League and make a difference. Trust me, I think he's absolutely brilliant. He's such an animal. I think he'd complement Romero lovely. And then, like I said, you bring in a Tonali or a Gomes and you're set. Look, I agree with the lads. I would love to see Vlahovic come to Tottenham. But the reason why I'm not saying a striker just yet, and I know most people are going to say it's because Harry Kane. No, it's not. Look, you could put Haaland in this team. You're not scoring goals. So there's no point in bringing in another Vlahovic if we're not going to score the goals if we can't get the ball through the final thirds and be able to create the chances. So on that logic, that's why I'm going with the defensive or the ball-playing midfielder.
I'm actually in the same note as actually David there. As much as I think we could sign world-class forwards, we seem to really struggle in holding on to possession. We seem to struggle at getting it to our strikers, getting it to our forwards. So at the end of the day, you probably have to sign a holding midfielder. As much as it kind of pains me because I would much rather sign a forward, and I know that's what the kind of whole point is. If you only could sign one, which is very unrealistic, we should be able to sign more than that. But if I could only sign one, I'd probably sign somebody that would actually fix that creativity problem. And then I'd be picking between Brozovic and Bruno Guimaraes. I'm just a huge Bruno Guimaraes fan, so I'm signing Bruno Guimaraes because I do think that guy will be basically the best holding midfielder and distributor in all of world football, if he isn't already. But True Sets Free says, Kessié is so overrated. I follow Serie A very closely the last 8 years. That's a controversial opinion, an unpopular opinion, True Sets Free. So there you go. I would maybe say, I know Kuva follows a lot of Serie A, so I'll let him maybe answer this one quickly. There have been some educated people that I've seen, especially someone I think from Football Daily even actually said the same thing, said that Kessié is actually overrated, which I thought was a bit of a hot take. I thought that's a bit of a hot take, but what do you feel like, Kuva? Is he overrated?
No, he deserves a bit of hype. He's an exciting player. I'm not going to say otherwise, but I just don't think he quite is what we need right now. I'm agreeing basically with you and David. We need that one in the defensive midfield slot. Is going to be the general, the one that dictates the tempo and sends the passing out from there. Kessie's a little bit more,
All
in the
action.
thick of it, all action, box to box, the sort of Barella type. I mean, I'll take Barella over him as well. But yeah, he's not to say Kessie is not a good player though. Overrated, maybe. It's all opinion, isn't it?
Yeah, it also depends on what we all consider overrated to be. But hot take there, Truth Sets Free, and I do invite hot takes. That's honestly a good one. Brave hot take. He also says so that Kuva loves Skippy. I think I've heard this before, Kuva, that you do really actually admire Skippy, and he's actually maybe one of the few examples we have left of a Mr. Tottenham to a degree.
Yeah, I don't think he's really right for the first team at the moment, but I think he can be. I think he can develop into something really good. He's got the heart for it. He's got the tackling ability. If we got a Brozovic in alongside him, how quick is he going to progress then?
Yeah, well said. And also he does care about this club, which is definitely important as well. The True Sets Free says the American tragedy is the greatest athletes in the world overall, yet soccer is the 7th option sport growing up and nobody plays. It was one of my best sports growing up, so I know it's sad. It's very much the truth. I actually would say we do have the best athletes in the world at our disposal, probably just also because of the population, of us, and also just because we do also have a very diverse country as well. At the same time, though, it is, has to do with the fact that we do prioritize other sports, the sports that we obviously have invented, which are the baseballs and the basketballs and stuff of the world. When it comes to the world sport, which is football, it seems like, or soccer, I guess, it seems like we just don't want to prioritize it because it's the world sport. I can't agree more. True Sets Free. It is a sad case. It's a sad, I don't know if it's a paradox, but it's just a sad case. It really is. But big yourself up, True Sets Free. I couldn't agree more. But that is the end of the show, everybody. That is, wrapping it up here. It is the end of Kaniki Answer Me. Hopefully you've enjoyed this one. It is yet again, another, pretty decent, long Kaniki Answer Me. I have enjoyed it just because it is nice to have such wise heads for this one, for the panel tonight. But David, I'm going to pass it off to you now.
No, look, I just want to say a massive thank you to Jack. The questions absolutely unbelievable, research incredible. I want to say a massive thank you to Kuva, for giving up his time coming on third stream today. I believe he's been an absolute brilliant addition to the panel. Guys, please get in the chat, show Kuva some love. I want to say a massive thank you to Philip. He again giving up his time and so much he does for this channel. Again, really, really appreciate it. Get in and show the OG some love as well. And look, Jack as well. Jack, before we end off, tell people where they can find you, my man. January transfer window is coming up. I think it's important all Spurs fans, get over and check it out.
Listen, they can find me over at Flat Cap Bureau Talk, as it says by my name right there. I wish I could put a link in, but over on Flat Cap Bureau Talk, you basically can find everything from basically scout reports when it comes to some of these players we talk about. Let's say you're a big Frank Kessié fan. We've reviewed Frank Kessié, looked at his highlights, looked at his stats. Let's say you're a big Brozovic fan. Look over there as well. You'll find Brozovic. Also, we're solving the left center back problem. We looked at Bastoni, which I would say maybe was a secret shout out for maybe that one signing, I wish you could probably have. And also plenty of other players we will be reviewing. I think I'm also going to be treating myself next week because a lot of people are putting in the very nice suggestions of like a Milinkovic Savic, a Barella, and those guys. And that will be like, honestly, like having, dessert before 6 o'clock. If you ask me, it really will be, it'd be like having, a nice big cake, with a big tub of ice cream right next to you. Honestly, I can't wait to review those guys. Will we ever get them? Who knows? But that's probably the case of why I enjoyed that channel so much. It is our second channel. So head on over there, Flat Cap Bureau Talk, as it says by my name right there. But everybody in the building, I will like to say it is our second channel. It is basically where if you want to talk transfers, if you want to talk players around European football that don't play for Spurs, that you want to see come to Spurs, you head on over there because that's your new home.
Sorry, there's one thing I wanted to say was checking out the chat that's going on with people watching the stream. It's great. I love seeing all the arguments, the suggestions from each other, bouncing off each other. It's just great. Everybody's so engaged at the moment. We've all got these wild ideas. What's happening? Everybody wants to talk in a positive way about how to take the club forward instead of like how far we are behind. It's awesome. Conte.
It is. It's the effect. That's for sure. But look, Jacko, throw the link in there into the chat while I wrap these things up. You know, I do encourage, I do encourage every Spurs fan to get over there. Every player that we will be linked with, do not worry. We will get out a scout report for you guys, you know, so that you can get over there, check them out. And look, not only that, if there's anyone that does tune in and you're just a general football fan, it's always good to know, you know what all these players are like, the stats, the facts, and everything else that Jack gives you. He puts incredible work over there. He really does. Look, I'll be honest with you, I just kind of show up for the shows that Jack demands me to be there for. But apart from that, everything else, this guy puts incredible effort. So, guys, do big him up. But look, Brian C. Socrates says, super stream, big up all the panel. Lock in the Spurs optimism program again, lads. The Don is cooking. And Conte ball is incoming. Come on, you Spurs. Come on, you Harris Army. Come on, you Flat Cap Army. Brian, I really appreciate the support and the love that you do give us, my man. It's absolutely incredible. Look, I see a lot of people saying they really enjoyed the stream. And it's good to see that. It really is good to see that, guys. And look, don't worry. Brian, you know me, man. Even in the worst of times, I'll always find it positive. I'll be honest, it's just the sort of guy I am. I'm a half glass full sort of guy. So as long as I'm on this channel, it'll always be a half glass full sort of channel, Brian C. So big yourself up, my man, and I really appreciate the support, brother. I really do. Big yourself up. And guys, here is the link for people to get over and check out the Flat Cap Your Talk. You're going to need it for January. It's going to be your Bible. Look, you know, us Irish, we go to the church, we pray, we have the Bible. You know, you need the Flat Cap Your Talk. It's a bit like the same thing. But look, guys, it's been absolutely awesome. Again, thank you to Kuva, Philip, Jack. I may as well thank myself too for showing up. But big up, everybody. Really appreciate all the love and support you continue to give us from the bottom of my heart. I'll be honest with you, it's absolutely incredible. Look, when I started this thing, I just wanted to get my opinions out there. You know, I would have been absolutely over the moon just having 50 people watching me. But we're nearly at 5,000 subscribers. You know, the views are always good. You know, the engagement is always incredible from you Spurs fans. The way you like the stream, share them, plug them all over social media. You know, you're constantly giving me and Jack messages of goodwill and good luck. So thank you, everybody out there from the bottom of my heart. You have no idea how much you've really, you know, impacted my life, you know, to be honest with you. I never thought I'd ever be doing something like this. And the impact you guys have made on my life has been insane. And I really do mean it. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. I can't thank you enough. And look, even speaking about it probably does bring a tear to my eye, you know, because I was sick. I was in a bad place, and it's really lifted me up and everything else. Thank you so much. But look, mental health is also a very, very important thing, you know. And I always say to everybody, you know, never ever feel lonely. Never ever feel like you don't have someone you can turn to or talk to, or even if you just want an ear so you can vent, rant, and get things off your chest. Yeah. Get in contact with me and Jack. Our social medias, our emails, and everything else, it's all below. Our message boxes are always open. Just get in contact, you know, and we're always there for you guys. It's very, very important. Look, it's been close to my family, you know what I mean? I know how important it can be. I know how people can feel in certain situations and stuff like that. So please don't ever hesitate to contact us, especially coming into Movember, you know, which I think is for the is kind of like to raise awareness for men's suicide and stuff like that. So it's absolutely very important, especially over the December, January, dark months, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. So guys, please do get in contact. But as always, come on, you Spurs. In Conte we trust.
In Conte we trust.
Everywhere we go.